Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me. I'm a man.
What's up, folks? Today we are doing two things. First of all, we are going early, and second of all, we are actually having a guest today. Bam! We are having Willis. Travis, how you doing, brother?
What's up, my man? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I am doing good. You know, like I said, it confuses people when we go early, so it'll take people a hot minute to get here.
Oh, it's all good, man. Just hanging and chilling.
Yeah, man. I've been watching all the crazy. Actually, you've had a lot of craziness, not just from this last couple of weeks, but you've had some craziness going on for quite some time now, man.
Well, you know, I guess all you can say to that is what, like, welcome to Otter Creek. I mean, the Otter Creek craziness, dude. I don't know, man. Yeah. You know, I guess as this thing gets going, and hello to everybody in chat. Really can't see the chat, but yeah, man, everybody knows me, you know what I mean? Like I pretty much don't really pay no attention to it. I really care less about it. It's just funny how that they continuously, once again, try to come at me for something, right? And now what's going on right now, it's something to do with I have satellites floating around now, I think, is the newest thing. So
I heard drones too. I heard you guys are going to get drones and fly them over their properties. I was like, what the world, man?
You know, that's what I heard, and I figured I might as well throw the satellites in there because, like, that's probably where to be next. You know what I mean? It's like, first of all, don't everybody got Google Earth? Like, if you want to, you know, like, but yeah. I think I might even said it one point in time. It's like, just out of respect, I wouldn't fly it over anybody's property because I wouldn't want it flying over mine. I don't know where they got that crazy idea, but you know, that's where do they get all the other crazy ideas, right?
I think it's all about, you know, they've got to have a villain, man, and you're a villain. So actually, I was wondering this. So this time when everything kicked off, Jeremy was actually out of town, right? So they needed a stand-in villain. I kept thinking the last time that everything kicked off, you know, the stuff that happened with the store, which we haven't got to talk about. We will talk about it. Was he out of town then? Do you have any idea?
I think I can't say for sure, but I want to say yes.
I'm wondering.
Jeremy wasn't in town. I believe George and Deanna might have been there, but I can't be 100% on that. But I would almost say yes. I'm sure somebody in the chat would know.
That's what it is. You know, also, they had a little expose. I know you don't keep up with everything all the time, you know, that's going on with all this craziness. Right. I know you try to do your own thing. Right. Yeah. But we found out that their pro bono free lawyer that they were using wasn't actually free. Yeah.
No, you know, so the most I'm able to, like, again, I try to keep up. I try to watch all Jeremy's videos as much as I can. You know, again, just show support. I jump on your lives here and there when I can. You know, I don't necessarily chat, but I'll jump on, just watch and listen, try and kind of hear a little bit of what's going on. But for the most part, the majority of my information comes from watching Jeremy's lives, and I seen that about this contract and like how they're going to split it, and then the fact that she mistook it like she was only going to get 40%, but then they had to re-clarify to her that, no, she was getting 60% and they were getting 40%, and like,
Yep.
is that not like the your foot in your mouth right there? I mean, I don't know. I don't understand how people just don't see this.
Well, I think some people don't want to see this. That's the thing. Some people either they want a villain. I mean, that's true. Or some people just want chaos. Some people don't care about the truth at all, and those are the worst people. Some people just want to. If you actually point out who these people really are and they buy into it, then the support for them dries up, money dries up. They don't want that at all.
Well, it's funny you say that, because when I was doing that live that day, I was even saying in that live, like, oh, look at all you John Malamas, you're all salivating because you're gonna have something to talk about. And lo and behold, what happened that night, boy? It was the talk of the town again
Oh
on the
yeah.
internet, because they all got something to talk about. And it's like, are you kidding
Yep.
me?
Oh
Like,
yeah, man. I mean, well, I've heard the craziest things about Travis. I'm like, wait a minute. Are we talking about the same guy? Because I know we're not talking about that guy who always says in his lives that I'm not wanting to get involved in this crazy. I try to stay out of it.
well, okay. Perfect point proven. Okay, and until you've seen my video that I'll be posting, of more of the. Okay, so basically, everybody just to know, the DJ's back. The DJ is back at Tubetown, and so the music roared up again yesterday. That'll be in today's video. Check that out after the live, after tonight. But yeah, it just goes to show. But like the deal with the child, like I've had where like they brought the child out before they had the fence up, and I've left. I've gone back into the woods. Like, I've never tried to do anything. Same thing when I was on the live during the town elections, when she's hollering at me like, "You're trying to film the child." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, it's all in my video. It kind of shows I'm not." And but they just keep coming up with these bizarre accusations. I guess is that the right
Yeah.
word?
Oh, yep. That's exactly the right word. We're talking
Like,
about that video, by the way. You can hear that music very well in that video for that.
oh
Let me
no,
see.
it's
I'm
oh
gonna
yeah.
pull it
If
up.
can you
I'm gonna
clip it?
pull
If
it
you can
up.
clip it, show it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. So yeah, I mean, you can actually hear it in the background. Like when y'all are out here, you're looking at mail and stuff. You can actually
Well,
like when it's going through.
How about the
Let's see.
music, right? We're just jamming. Yeah.
I can hear it in the background right there.
Well, I must say, Rusty,
So
at least we
you
get
can
some
hear
good
it
tunes
good
while we're
right
hanging
behind
out.
you. You can hear it perfectly right behind
Yeah.
you there. People should actually
Well,
check that. This video will drop in a little bit actually. So
yeah.
it'll drop right
It'll be tonight.
with
After
this.
you guys can go see it tonight after when we're all done.
Yeah.
But
I'll link
yeah,
to it too. I've got it
the thing.
pulled up and linked.
Dude, the crazy thing about this is you can, if you pay attention, again, I'm not sure how much, and again, I have my fun stuff that I do in my video, my little speed ups and slow downs or whatever. But but literally the music went from like okay, so like right over my left shoulder there, like right behind that, like behind that black curtain there, was like on that side of the fence. But then they moved it over. Literally, I seen it, and next thing you know, the crack in the corner of the fence, it's set up right there in the crack, blasting through the crack. And you'll tell later in the video how it gets even louder when I go out in the street when I'm leaving. And at the end of the video, I kid you not, I am standing at the Hales Ranch, at the end of the driveway at the Hales Ranch, and I'm still singing Roxanne. You can still hear it. You can literally still hear it. I kid you not.
What's amazing about that is there's this narrative, they pushed it all the time. They talk about them and the kid and everything. They're all afraid of Travis. He's this monster across the street. And yet they're forcing interaction with you, and they're trying to force confrontation. Like, that's the crazy part. They're hoping to force a confrontation there. And that doesn't sound like a victim to me.
Well, that's what I don't understand. It's like, why? Never have they ever, like, never has it been like, again, if correct me if I'm wrong, John Malamas, if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. But I even said in my live when they were out there, I was like, man, I hope they're out there playing. You know what I mean? I hope that's what they're doing. But then there was some, back and forth. And then next thing you know, it's so odd because it's happened before when they knew I was out there filming or doing a live. In my opinion, falsely putting up a front as to what, because again, there's nobody in the world out there other than this guy right here that is out there working and doing stuff for the past year, and I haven't heard a lot of what do you call it, interaction going on with the child out there. It's not my business, but you know what I mean. to next thing you know, all of a sudden, like, be out there and start hollering this and hollering that, like encouraging the kid to say stuff. It was pretty obvious that's what she was doing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and I'm like, that was just so oddball to me. But then again, I knew that I was there filming, and they knew I was there filming, so they were going to put on their like their front, if you will. You know what I mean? And then again, I'm talking, again, we're shooting from hip as always, but and we'll talk about it later on. But then this stuff he started talking about the honking the horn thing. And it's like, dude, I've been honking the horn for super chats way prior to this, and then you're gonna try and all the.
Yeah, they were making that. They were like, you were. John Cook said, "quote That is what they do when they try to attract children."
Yeah.
He was. I was like, gross, man. That's absolutely. You would think a guy that is in as many lawsuits as he is about those kind of statements, maybe wouldn't do that to other people as well. But they just don't stop, man.
Honestly, I said this. I said this in my live. Basically, in my opinion, they need to they'll say what they're going to say. Me and my wife talk about it. They do all the things that they say that we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like if they don't have nothing to talk about Jeremy or talk about me, then I tell you what, I'll challenge all you llamas out there. Why don't you all just go do your own content? Don't worry about Jeremy Hales. Don't worry about me, because I promise you, Tug and Meg and all the other journalists will continue their channels will continue to flourish with the stuff that they do, and your channels will all just drop off, because that's their content. Literally, I mean, that's my honest opinion about it, because that's where they get it. But they'll say, "Oh, well, you do that because of views." No, I showed you what happened. I showed you the truth. On my live, I didn't ask them to come home and do that. I didn't say, they did that. They did that themselves. I didn't do that. I never did nothing.
But, oh yeah, we can actually. I mean, well, the funny thing about it is, it's all recorded how it goes.
Oh, I know.
Pulling that one up, you can actually, I time stamped in so and you can hear this stuff happening in the background. Like, for example, just pulling this back up here, and if anybody's curious about the times, you should again help out the videos anyway. Go subscribe to the channel. But on this video, you can tell the mayor is live at TubeTown, baby.
Yeah, this is TubeTown. Yeah,
yeah, at 1:22:33. You can actually hear. So I'm giving it, it's in the background. You have to listen for it, but I'm giving it 4 seconds before that. Check it out. You can first hear her, and then you can hear the kid, and it comes through your microphone. They kept saying like their excuses where your microphone picks up everything. No, your microphone doesn't pick up background sound. It does a pretty good job of knocking any of that exterior sound out. Here it is. Check this out. You hear him?
Oh, look at him.
Little kid.
So now they got the little girl.
That's crazy. And you can hear you react. So that's you're like, they got the girl.
Literally, that happened just then. Like I was watching, I seen it, and then like again, I'm thinking maybe somebody's walking by the gate or whatever, you know what I mean? But then you could tell it was the little girl's feet, and she squatted down, and she's bent over sideways looking through the fence, and like literally, that's when she hollered that loud through the fence right then. And that's how I like pointed. I'm like, look. Like that's what they're doing right now. Like that's literally happening. Was I going to turn around and film the little girl? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it happened live right then. I don't know what else. I don't know how else I could,
with
or make that like fake. Like seriously,
with recording, they play this victim thing anyway. But first of all, the garbage fence that they build doesn't mean anything. You have to build an entire fence, but even then, you're only allowed not to be recorded when you have this the expectation of privacy. When you're in a domicile, for example, and you're doing certain, like, nobody wants to watch them changing, for example. That's an expectation of privacy. But just building a line on the road and pretending you're a victim from that means nothing. It means nothing whatsoever. And then to go out and yell underneath it and more, that's wild. How long? Go ahead.
I think building that, in my opinion, for them, again, and as everybody knows, they've continuously came at me, and that's all them. It's not my gig. As I say in my comments, NMG. Anybody wonder what the acronym is? It's not my gig. It's not my gig over there. But you would think that, or I think that when they put that up, they cage themselves off, and now they're like, they feel like they need to know what's going on outside, so they're looking through the cracks. I kid you not. I don't say it all again because I don't ever try to talk about it. You know what I mean? I could easily talk about it, show stuff, and get the clicks and get the views. And some of the llamas are gonna be like, "Oh, that's what you're doing now." You can say what you want, but I can easily do it. They're peeping through the fence all the time, like
Yep.
literally peeping through the fence all the time. And I think they built that, and it's just driving them nuts. And now on top of that, they got like curtains strung out everywhere. They got the new blind up front. I call it the Great Wall of Otter Creek. Like it's just like it's insane.
It's so weird. I was looking at your video, man, and I mean, you see it behind. It's so awful looking. Just to be honest, man. Again, build what you want. It's your property, right? You can do whatever you want. But my God, that behind you, look at that. That's terrible, dude.
So, and you can see the smoke coming above it, and that's where it's like, like if I don't know the rules, I don't know what it is, but they're burning trash. If they want to burn the trash, that's cool. I don't care. I had to actually leave during the film of this video because it stunk so bad. It was such a, I don't know. And again, I don't ever talk about this. I mean, the majority of the time I do not. I try to steer clear of it, but literally, like you can see my videos. Like, man, I gotta go. Like, I got nauseous. But, and that combined with the music and everything is like, man, I feel horrible for the child. Like they close themselves inside this like cage, and now all this stuff is going on, and like, I don't know, man.
You brought up a good point. Like when we were setting up, you said this, and I thought, man, that's actually a good point. If you can hear all of this as loud as it is on your side of the road or on the outside, inside the property, it's got to be a nightmare. So that for that kid, holy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and honestly, that might be why I didn't get no music today. I don't know, because I was there today. I did it live. Well, they did leave. I know they left, but I'm thinking because I came back later on. If I came back later on the live and it was shut off, which again, in my opinion, that shows intent because we were there filming, playing Tube Town with some viewers. Awesome, man! Shout out to Terry and his son Josh, and also Rusty that came by. But and then next thing you know, it starts coming, and then it gets louder. Then the speaker gets moved. The whole entire it showed so much intent of like disrupting, and then an hour later, it's all gone. Who's harassing who? Like literally, I think I even said that in my video. It shows what these people are doing. I don't make it up. It's real.
We've never gotten to sit down and talk about this, like how all this madness started. I've been curious, like on your side of things, when it how all of this, like I said, it started up, how it's ramped up, how we've gotten to where we are today. So can you take us back and tell us how all this madness started?
So here's the situation. Let me explain this for anybody out there. Me and Jeremy Hales are good friends, and and me and Jeremy Hales don't see eye to eye on everything, and we see eye to eye on a lot of things. A long time I had this 2-inch pipe dream, and again, just okay, go back to me starting YouTube. I never knew about YouTube, never did anything with YouTube. YouTuber moved into town, bought the ranch. My daughter's husband's parents are Tina and Brian, just so everybody knows. So if that clears anything up. And Chelsea told me about the YouTuber came in town. He basically did storage units, stuff like that. Well, he needed some help. So me being the guy that I am, I can do a lot of things. But I seen about Walmart one day. I was like, hey man, I was like, I started watching the videos. Then that intrigued me, watching the storage hunting and the treasure hunting and stuff like the storage units and treasure hunting. I was like, man, this is fun. So then I recognized him. So then I was in Walmart one day. I seen him, introduced myself, told him who I was, told him who my daughter was. And then I said, hey, listen, you said you need some help out there. I'll go out there and give you a hand. This is what I charge. And so he hired me for that week of work. I finished all the shelves there in the back of the ranch. And then during that time, me and him become friends or acquaintances and friends, right? And then, like he does to everybody, same thing what I do to everybody. I encourage people to start a YouTube channel, no matter what it is. You know what I mean? Fun employment is real. People, you can achieve it if you work hard enough at it.
Oh yeah.
So anyhow, I start that. Well, over the years, the first year of just making videos, doing different things, I could see how viewers, want to interact with Jeremy and not really myself at the time because I'm still a small guy, but I'm like, man, this is cool. Well, people can't really necessarily go to the ranch, right? Because that's the home. Can't necessarily go to the schoolhouse. That's the place of business. So I ultimately want to get an investor and buy what is now the Otter Creek Trading Post. I wanted to start up a community thing up there and do exactly what Lena's doing up there, man. Have a place a community can come, you can feed the community. I didn't have the idea of like having the different vendors in there. I didn't have that, and I think it was really great to have that. And just so everybody knows, gas is coming to Otter Creek. I put it in one of my videos. I let it out that yes, the company gate will be coming in and putting gas pumps, so we will have regular fuel and diesel in Otter Creek here pretty soon. But anyhow, that was just a dream, right? So then, and Jeremy, he tries to watch my videos when he can. And we don't, and that's the funny thing about me. We don't really talk a lot. Like people probably think we like collaborate a lot, but we really don't. We just vibe.
You mean you all don't plot together all the time? That's what I've heard. You know,
that's so funny because I could prove it so easy by just showing my call log. Like the last time I texted Jeremy or when I called him. You know what I mean? Like it's so easy to prove. But so then he told me about the lot there. And he's like, hey, man, so what I wanted a place where the viewers could come, right? And so if we were at this place, it didn't matter if Jeremy was there, I was there, George was there, Deanna was there, whoever, you could stop by and you could feel okay. You didn't have to feel like a stalker. You didn't have to feel like somebody just coming up and, hey, let's face it, man, let's be real here. It's the reality of, people want to take pictures. People want to see it. So people drive up, they'll take pictures of the schoolhouse, of the ranch. You know what I mean? But now I wanted like a legitimate place. Oh, let me let my cat in real quick. Hold on to you. Go on.
It's all good, man.
but I wanted a legitimate place where people could come and like basically stop, interact, talk, you know what I mean? And then little by little, it just all kind of just the viewership, pretty much 99% of ThATuMBRELLA was all sent by the viewers. The only thing I brought there, I think, was like the 2-inch PVC pipe and some of the AstroTurf. Other than that, like all the games, and you'll see in the video tonight after this live, and you'll see the fact of when the viewers come. I had no idea that Rusty was a stop by. We had 2 viewers from Canada that would make a road trip down. They specifically come to TubeTown to sign the guest book stuff. And then while we're there, another viewer from Michigan originally, but now living in South Florida, stops by. You know what I mean? So, so it's become really a destination for people to come. And if I'm there, I love filming clips with viewers. You know what I mean? If they want to, if they don't want to, it's cool. But it's become that place where, hey, we live our lives in the public eye, right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's one thing a lot of people might not know about me is long before YouTube, I was in the public eye. I used to perform in stadiums with 70,000 people. You know what I mean? Like it's no big deal to me, but having that place where people could come up and like interact, because I love the autograph sessions. I love being at autograph sessions. I can sit there and talk to kids and, and encourage them to follow their dreams. You know what I mean? And now I have a platform being YouTube so much bigger than what I had before that, like it's awesome to be able to encourage people to become a YouTuber, for example. But ultimately, getting back, not spin off topic here, is I wanted a place where viewers could come and feel welcome and not feel like they're intruding on anybody's privacy. And then that's where TubeTown was born. And now it's been a little over a year, and we've had close to 400 people from all around the country and over now 2 different countries, England, which Mom and Tracy, if you guys are watching, love you guys, and in Canada now, have come to sign that guest book. We're about to finish out guest book number 3.
That's crazy, man. I mean, that's quite a bit, especially with all the crazy and the chaos that goes on. I imagine, by the way, when you talk about hurting business, the whole tortious interference thing,
yeah.
I'm sure that you would have quite a bit more business if it weren't for, well, let's just say certain things that happen on the other side of the property.
Well, let's expand to TubeTown 2.0. If people that don't follow, that don't know, is now I am in control of the property industry, which is a commercial property where I'm actually building a legitimate place of business where I'll be bringing in a mobile vending tackle box / gift shop, which with a friend of mine that makes tackle, but I'll get into that another day in one of my videos, which people know about them. But and sell. I tell you what, if you get some merchandise, we'll have it for sale there anyway. And the reason being because it's becoming a destination. People are coming there. I'm gonna have a hot dog cart. We're gonna sell Drama Llama lemonade, and the newest item on the list, which is one of my
lemonade.
So no, one of the viewers brought this one up. I should sell Kool-Aid. So guess what's going to be on the menu? Drink the What the Hell's Kool-Aid. That's what we're going to put on the menu. So I'm going to have Kool-Aid and Drama Llama lemonade. And it's just a slow process, but legitimately it's going to become a place where people can come and come onto the property. You can come to the front of the property there, and we can play the games at the ranch, if you will, or at TubeTown. But 2.0 is going to be a real legitimate place of business, and I'm excited for that because that's the best thing about it. What I was getting at is they don't have to worry about down there, because I know people have sent me emails. They wanted to sign a guest book, but they were afraid. You know what I mean? They wanted to come down there and take pictures, but they weren't comfortable. I get it. It's all good. But now 2.0, they don't have to go down there. They can drive by if they want, which that happens a lot too. I see a lot of people drive by and take pictures, but they don't stop. And I don't know if that's why, or if they don't like me, or I don't know. But it's fun. So come to Otter Creek.
I think some of it is. I think some of it is what happens across the street. You know, people worry about. Honestly, you know, I've said before, like I would definitely, like, you know, make time, stop by, goof off and stuff. But these people are so crazy. Some of the stuff that's happened there, that I'm waiting for, you know, some of this to have a remedy. You know what I mean? Like once it has some kind of answer, then maybe it would feel a little bit better.
Didn't they give the answer when they put the fence up so they could be left alone? So like leave everybody else alone?
Yeah, it seems like it really seems like they want to be left alone, right, man?
I mean, I thought they solved the remedy, but all their donations and their help or whatever, and they put the fence up, and so therefore it's all done. That's my thought, but obviously
they have a huge financial incentive to continue. I mean, you know, that one guy alone we found out gave them $56,000, man.
Yeah. This, like,
I mean, that's an insane amount of money. I don't care who you are. You know, if you're at a point in life where 56K doesn't mean anything, hey, props to you. You know, I'm proud of you. But most of us out here are like, whoa, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a chunk of change. And that's where, you know, again, I try to watch as much as I can on Jeremy's videos, and I hear the different things, and that's why I wonder. For me personally, you know, and a lot of people, you know, I have the best wife behind me. I have the strongest woman that, like, my bookkeeping, like everybody knows, like I'm kind of airheaded, and I'm a redneck, but I'm not a stupid redneck type deal. But you know, and it's because behind every good man there's a better woman, in my opinion, and so therefore, I have a business, and like, man, I just sometimes. Okay, I'm spinning off track here. It's just people think that I'll stop right now. I'll stop because I don't want to. Again, I don't want to say too much, but at the same time, it's just like I don't get these people. I don't get them. I don't get it. I don't get it.
No, it's I think, you know, when I get involved, like covering a case, one of my things is I like to cover until I kind of understand, you know, what's going on, and I understand the players involved and what's happening. And to be honest, I mean, I can understand them at a base level, at least in my opinion. I think it's a lot of grifting and them wanting their money and chaos. You know, they get to play the victim out of it, but at the same time, man, the level they're willing to go to is crazy. So for you, do you remember when all this stuff, all the crazy, you know, kind of kicked off your way? Because, you know, you get a lot of shit too that's pointed at you. You always like, you're like, hey, I don't want to be part of this. I just want to go over here. I want to do my own thing, you know, but I am friends with Jeremy. You make no qualm about that, which is great. You know, you stand by your friends. That's awesome. Right. You should do that. Right. And I mean, you've had a lot of shit pointed your way because of that. Do you remember when all of that started up your way?
Honestly, but let me rewind back to, I was going back to business guys. I thought about it. It was like the taxes in the situation of that. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, if somebody's going to give to $56,000 or however that works, I'm like, because I know taxes, because now that I'm a full-time YouTuber, I've had my awesome accountant for 20 years. I don't know. But the fact that like that has to be accounted for, right? Like, you know, you just don't just like, oh, here you go. So therefore that to me, I'm thinking to myself, like, that's probably gonna turn up somewhere at some point for somebody, and it's not gonna be good in my thoughts. I don't know, but that's what I was getting at. But as far as going back to what you're saying about when this stuff started up, dude, probably when I became friends with Jeremy. I don't really know. Because, well, actually, didn't like the stuff with Lynette start up at Half Meal Time to Grill? And then what I found out, like, that started then. I didn't realize that. I didn't know that who she was or whatever, but she was at Half Meal Time to Grill. And so whatever happened there. But like when it all started pointing the finger at me, I don't really know.
Yeah,
Just
see, I'll see them flare up on you every now and then, right? The last time I saw that, before this mess, this current mess, it happened over at the store. You were
yeah,
set up,
yeah.
you were recording, then there was the whole issue, the confrontation. Can you tell me a little bit about that? What happened?
So basically, and that's what's so funny. And nowadays with AI, people, the haters are gonna say what they're gonna spin it how they want to spin it, right? But yeah, like literally, just and then my point's proven again. Like I don't try to fill them. I'm in the trading post. I'm checking out. I'm buying stuff as I normally do, and I promise you, Lena, the owner of trading post, she has my back. She'll
Mhm.
100% tell you anything and everything about me and about that situation, about you know anything there. Um, and so like next thing you know, he comes walking, which blew me away. Like I was kind of taken back by the fact of next thing he pulls up, he could easily see my truck where my truck is parked, right? Spins around, pulls up, comes in, walks by me, goes to Pam, and that's when I was like, okay, that's weird. So, because again, that just struck me as odd. So I put my camera down. You know what I mean? I put my camera down and thanks. I'm not trying to film. I'm not trying to like film him, right? Dude, okay, whatever, dude, do your thing. Like I don't mess with you. You don't mess with me. It'd be don't mess with me. So he walks in, does whatever he does to Pam, whatever, and walks out. He's literally like walking by me. And for me, for example, now keep in mind, like I'm standing at a counter, right? Now behind me, there's a buggy, and there's about a space wide enough for a grown man to walk through, right? It's not very big right there. It's when you come into the trade post when that buggy was there. So as he's walking back towards me, I turn. I just turned to watch him because I don't know what the dude's gonna do, but just to watch to
Right.
see, you know what I mean? Because I'm protecting my back. And I guess that was his interpretation of when they spun this whole narrative of me trying to trip him. But
Yeah, see, that
as
was
far
wild, man.
so no, well listen, dude. So I spin and look at him. I just smile at him. You know what I mean? I wave at him every time I see him now. I just wave at him. I smile at him, and he's like, "I can cuss on this, right?"
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
he goes, "I'm gonna
Well, I should
fucking
have been
kick
like,
your
no,
ass one
fuck, no,
day."
you can't.
He
That's what I
says,
should.
he says that. He says that. He says, "I'm gonna fucking kick your ass one day," and I'm like. That's why I picked the camera back up. Oh yeah, well then do it right now, dude. Like if you want to say that, you know what I mean. But if I play that audio, people will say, "Oh, it's AI generated." You know what I mean? Like, but that goes to prove like I wasn't trying to film it, and I promise you, he probably wouldn't have said that if I was filming him as he's walking by. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, he literally said that to me, and like, okay, dude, well, you want to go there? We can. I'm the type of guy like let's go around back. We'll just do our thing. We'll shake hands when we're done, and we'll drink a beer afterwards. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've been in altercations growing up where I become very good friends with the people after the fact, just because of the fact of hey,
Well,
you want to
I don't think they're that
talk.
kind though. I mean, the accusations against them, I'll go this way. They they seem to involve firearms a lot of time. So I'm going to say they're probably not the kind that will step behind a place with you and just sort it out. They're more the
Right.
type that they'll start something and try to use that altercation as a way to pull out ye old pew pew. So you got to watch
Yeah,
yourself, bud. Yeah.
but that's where it's they're silly because it's like just just do y'all's thing. If you don't threaten me because you have a pew pew. It's everybody has them. I mean, it's not a big deal.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean? And I'm not here to do anything other than freaking do my tube town stuff. You guys stay over there. You do your thing. I'll do my thing. But yeah, you're right. It happened. And what the bummer about that, a lot of people don't know Patty, and you had Patty on here, and I love Patty.
Mhm.
She's awesome. Is she spent all her own money to come down here to testify. She was another victim in that case where she testified or gave her statement or whatever to them and told them, hey, this happened. And then Levy County just, nah, we're not going to take your statement because West didn't show up, right? So, but they don't care about the other person who has a lot more credibility than the other individual, right? And then on top of that, it took Patty like I'm not sure how long, but it took her a while. They weren't going to reimburse her for her money. She spent all her own money to come down there to do that for them to like release the dude, and then next thing you know, not going to pay her back. Finally, she ended up getting, I believe, most of it back. But like that to me, like
Yeah, by
Okay, so
law, they're
this
supposed
somebody
to, you know. I mean, the crazy thing is, I mean, by law, they have funds set aside for that. They're supposed to. So, I mean, that's yet another thing where they did something under law they're supposed to do. They didn't do it, so it discouraged her. She had to come up with their own money, did it anyway, and they still didn't follow through. I mean, it's
yeah.
just it's madness. I've never seen a place act like there. You know, I've seen places do questionable things, let's say, but the level of the ineptitude where they don't want to do something about it. I mean, it is other level, man.
Right. Well, you know, it's funny because like I was doing my live today. I think it was in TubeTown because like if people don't know, I have two different channels and it's all me just being a goofball. I'm a goofy guy, but the fact that you know oh man, where was it? I lost some train of thought there. Hold on, I'll get it back in
It
a minute.
happens, man. It happens.
But there's so much that goes on with it. Like people, if you lived it, you would understand. But you know, I was talking about you in the live. I was like, no, because you know, some people want to cover it because they get views because it's out there. And like I said on my live, I was like, you know, for example, you and Megan, do you guys have your? And I might have said earlier, do you guys have your own? You guys are intrigued by court cases and how things go and like filings and motions and objections and all that craziness. You know what I mean? What they all, that's what you guys have been into way prior to all this. But now you get into this and it's just a whole nother bizarre realm. And like you're just saying, you're like, dude, I've never seen nothing like this.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
more
know anything
intrigued
about
by
it, but like it's like, wow, it does seem to be pretty Otter Creek zone.
well, I'm intrigued by how far that process. There's so many pieces of this thing. You know, it's not just the court cases. It's
Right.
also the insanity, the recruitment of some pretty awful human beings into this. I mean, they've been contacted. They've been told to get, be part of. I mean, just every piece of it. And yeah, I mean, I am kind of addicted to watching this play out.
I know.
It's,
That's what I'm saying. So that's what's fun. Like, and that's what, again, to each his own, but like, it's fun, it's fun for you where
it's fun for the people involved, though. That's the thing, and part of
yeah,
covering.
exactly. Jeremy having to deal with it. Again, I take things lighthearted. Like I'm not, I got pretty thick skin. You're not going to get over on me. I promise you. But like, literally, like it's not fun. Like the defamation, like literally, we have a defamation case against them easily.
Oh yeah,
But
yes, you do.
do I want to go through? Do I want to do all that? If need be, I will. But do I want to? No. I'm here to have fun. I'm here to spread the joy to the world, one smile at a time. That's the goal of my channel. You know what I mean? And so,
Have you considered pursuing a case against them? Then
well,
have you actually? Considered that?
we discussed yeah. I mean, it just depends, like where and what I want to do. Right now, I'll let it be. You know what I mean? But if it continues, and like, okay, for example, I'm gonna put this out there on your live because this is what will happen. This is okay. I'm gonna say it now, and it's not incriminating because we'll see what happens. But I thought about this. I just laughed to myself about this because I saw Jeremy's video yesterday, right? With the Lynette video on the Facebook video or whatever, right? She's
Yeah.
talking about like don't throw rocks, everybody get along, blah 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 blah, whatever, the
Right.
whole deal. Right. Well, now they're blasting the music at me, right? And so all you drama llamas out there watching me right now, listen, you can go ahead and get it back to her. They're blasting that music at me right now. Well, what if I decide to just blast back what she says? And she calls the cops. Does that mean she called the cops on herself?
Kind of, yeah. I mean,
Like,
it's amazing
she
to
probably
me.
would, right? She probably would call the cops and me playing her
She
own video,
would.
saying what she
You
said,
know.
like, don't throw rocks, be kind. Like, literally, like,
Well,
I mean, it's just so, like,
that's somebody trying to disguise their identity. Like there was discussion about them calling the police on you for what happened the other day. About about them yelling things over. Yeah, them making contact twice, maybe. Have you heard anything about that, by the way?
no, I was well. The one thing I heard in the video about her talking about Deanna and I, you know what I mean, and inappropriate behaviors. First of all, I mean, like, if you're one to think that, and especially if you're the cop and you actually think that, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go have an affair on my wife in front of this house of like. It just is so ludicrous. I mean, that's I guess how loony they are to think the things they think, but to say that, which is defaming me publicly,
Yeah,
saying
I
that,
don't think they believe those things. That's the thing. That's part of defamation. Like, honestly, even with a public figure, if they don't believe it, or they just do it with reckless disregard, they don't care if it's true, then that is defamation 100%. And the stuff that they've said about relationships and stuff, man, they say that stuff about all kinds of people. They said that stuff about Madam Mayor, and
they
her
got cameras.
husband.
They got cameras like me. Why don't you show me your footage? Like, I
True
mean, you guys got
that.
the
True
footage,
that. Actually, I
right?
didn't even think about that. True. Yeah.
Doesn't make no sense to me. Everything they say doesn't make no sense. It all just doesn't make
Well,
sense.
they're not accustomed to anybody questioning what they say. That right now they have an entire group of people that they've listened to the victim narrative.
Right.
They go out, they have a PR team, an admitted PR team, which is crazy to me. But yeah, they just say
Hello,
whatever.
PR team.
Yeah, they'll definitely talk about you tonight, I'm sure.
Oh, sure.
Well, it's okay. I'm tired of seeing people talk about, like, you and I hit you up and I was like, hey man, you want to come on? And then, I had my health problems. So it delayed us there. But I wanted you to be able to come on and to talk about this stuff, because I'll watch stuff and I'll cover it right out of your videos. I'll be like, no, this happened, that happened,
Right.
this
I appreciate
happened. We can hear it. But
Right.
maybe you could talk about it too,
And that's the one thing that I don't get. And maybe not enough of the people that believe what they believe, and they don't want to believe the truth, I guess. And so they won't go look at the other videos. And it doesn't matter to me, And that's where, like, if you're a person who don't like Jeremy and you like me, fine. If you like me or like Jeremy and don't like me, fine. Because I know a lot of people like, oh, back in the day, like, oh, you're riding Jeremy's coattails, you know what I mean? Blah 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 this, blah 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 that, you know what I mean? It's like you hear them all saying what they say, but it's fine. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like Jeremy. Jeremy and I both are going to be unemployed. We're going to continue to have fun. If you don't want to watch us, don't watch us. But they want to sit there and not watch the truth and oh, I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to support him. But you're not going to go watch the actual facts. You're not going to go watch what actually happened. You're not going to go visualize or see or listen to what exactly went down that day. You know what I mean? Well, again, the lives are the lives. You can't edit those. But the videos, you know what I mean? They'll say, oh, you edit it. Can't really edit it. I can't help it. I'm there filming and they're screaming in the background. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to listen to them. Like, they need to stop flattering themselves. I'll tell you that much. Like if you think I'm there to try to film you, like, you guys got the wrong idea.
Well,
each his own, right?
On purpose, though. I mean, it's strange to have somebody do something. You record it because, again, you're on your property. You're just doing a live. You're not doing anything else. Here's a question too. Actually, somebody asked, which I did want to pull up. They asked you, "Are you having any problem with copyrights for music or anything in the background? With them trying to do that?"
No. Well, there's tools and there's ways that they try to do that, and they can't. They've been trying since the last time they started doing it, and they can't. They haven't gotten it yet. But could that be a problem? Absolutely. Could that interfere with my business? Absolutely. Could they be deliberately trying to sabotage? Again, I don't know what the terminology, which is obviously what they're doing. That's why they started doing it. They started doing it back, whatever it was. I don't even know what it was. And it's funny because if you going back to the body cam footage when I had to go move the stereo, I'm not sure if you saw the part. I was like, "Oh, me and you have history, don't you?" Then I was talking about the stereo out front when we were removing Lloyd's camper off the property because I had to open the gate up. But back when they used to set the speakers up out there and blast it over there, it was like it's obvious they were trying to copyright, and that's what they were trying to do. The people in their little ecosystem, as y'all call it, were like, "Oh, I'll do that, so we'll copyright it." Well, guess what? It didn't work. All it did was give me more views. All they did was help my channel. Like, literally, that's all they do. I don't know why they keep doing it, but if they want to keep helping my channel and keep harassing me or interfering or interjecting themselves, well, then go ahead. I'll just keep making fun of you and I'll let everybody else laugh and see the truth. You know what I mean? Like, and if the haters don't want to see the truth because they don't want to support me and watch the truth, so be it. I can't please everybody, and I'm not trying to please everybody. But if you look at the truth, you will see it.
What did you think about what did you think about the lawsuit? You know, the thing that we called the Trespass 5. Maybe you could tell us about I guess can you take us back to the day that happened, and then we'll talk about the lawsuit too, because I'm curious. You know, we've never talked about that at all.
So you know what, and again, I know there's a lot of flack out there on against Levy County Sheriff's Department, and like I said, it's all in everybody's interactions, things that happen, like their dealings. Jeremy's obviously had not very good luck dealing with them. You know what I mean? There's different stuff going on, But I'll tell you what, that day, Corporal Gregory with Levy County Sheriff's Department, you know, in my opinion, that dude should become the sheriff, hands down, because I'm pretty confident he probably already kind of knew the situation. I'm pretty sure there's not anybody in the Levy County Sheriff's Office that has any idea about the whole YouTuber in Otter Creek. And so, but that Corporal Gregory, man, I tell you what, if he run for sheriff, I would probably move to Levy County and vote for him, just because, like, understanding the craziness of all involved, he did everything he could in his power to be fully neutral, fully like, hey, we can do it this way if we do this, and like that, and you know what I mean, and back and forth. And he was cordial. He wasn't one side, he was the other, and like, and it was obvious. And this was so funny about it. If people go back and look at it, and if they want to believe the Trespass 5 suit, it's like, how foolish can you be? Like, okay, if you watch the video, the body cam footage of me is all unedited. It's just the whole thing. Like, you watch it, and like, yeah, she knew, she was cool with us taking the camper. She wanted to keep her stuff, or whatever, but it was all fine. But now all of a sudden, we're going to slap a lawsuit on you because of an agreement that you have with somebody else. How much sense does that make? Okay, you have an agreement with somebody else, but you're going to sue us over here. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
If you had an agreement with Lloyd, why wasn't Lloyd in on that lawsuit? That, to me, like, that right there just shows, like,
yeah, that was a very strange thing. Like, you know, they came back after the fact, and they wanted to pretend too. When we read the lawsuit, they said that she had no chance to claim her property. You know, you all guys, and that wasn't the reality. I mean, the reality that's the good thing about you all filming, and that proves that you have to, because the lies that they put out about that, like, they in no way were indicative of what happened.
Oh, not at all. I mean, that's where, you know, even the Corporal Gregory said it. He's like, she said, you know, she had no problem with Lloyd taking this camper, as long as it wasn't nobody to do with the what the hell. You know what I mean? There's many times that Corporal Gregory said it, but you know, kind of going back to touch on situation, like, it's every situation is different. But then you look at, for example, the other situation where I was accused. Hey, Orange Cat. There goes Orange Cat. If you don't know Orange Cat, you should follow my channel. You'll know. But I was confused when people accused me. Could have been me, or it could have been DJ Raz, or it could have been Jeremy, and the interaction the deputy had with those individuals. And I'm just like, some of the stuff there just didn't seem as if it seemed as if that deputy wasn't as neutral, I guess, if I could say that politely. Again, I have nothing against Levy County Sheriff's Department. You know, I've only had good interactions with them, and that's with Corporal Gregory. And the other lieutenant, was a Lieutenant Brian or Prime, when we had the speaker situation with Lynette, when they started so if they don't know, when they started doing blasting the speakers at me, if you might know, I have like 4 Mackie Thump 15-inch, big old JBL 12-inch. I got a whole big giant sound system for my show. So I took just one speaker over there and set it up, and I started playing What the Hales videos, and just having a YouTube party, or you know, it was What the Hales, it was what you doing. I just had a playlist. It was a playlist, and then he pulls up, right, and he goes and talks to them for whatever, and it's like, it doesn't make no sense. Okay, you guys are blasting music at me, so okay, I just do the same thing, and now the cops show up, and so now they show up. And he comes to me, and he backs up. He goes, talks to them. He backs back up in his car. And well, first he pulls up and he puts it back till we get back. And I don't know if they've ever got the audio on this or whatever, but you can hear me. You can hear the whole TV. You can hear it if it's on. He pulls up and he's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Oh man, just having a YouTube viewing party. Have my laptop up on top of my speaker, so any of the viewers come by, they can watch the playlist, right?" And so that's it. And he's like, "Would you mind turning it down for me?" And I was like, "Sure, no problem." So I turned it down. The speaker was still facing, them. So he goes and talks to them. He gets back in his car and he backs back up. And he's like, "Man, would you mind being the bigger man?" And I was like, "Dude," "I've been the bigger man." And he's like, and he gave me the look and like the gesture, like, I know. But you could tell the dude was fed up. He was fed up with having to go to what is it, 151 North Otter Creek Ave, or just North Otter Creek Ave. He was told, you could tell, you know what I mean? And he knew that, and I had no problem. I turned the speaker back around. I never took the speaker back out there again. It was just kind of a principle, like, listen, you know, you play with fire, you get burned. Or as my grandpa would say, you pee the bed. But you know what I mean? Like, you know, but
It's
I
so
more so
ridiculous
didn't
to
want
have
to
to
do it for the
ask you.
child. What's that?
It's ridiculous though that you know you're put in a situation where you have to quote unquote be the bigger man. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Well, you know,
it's
I,
at some
I,
point. Well,
no, dude, Doug, I'll not to interrupt you, but I'll be perfectly honest with you. If that child wasn't there,
mhm,
it'd be a whole different game, dude. If that child wasn't there, because again, I'm not trying to disturb that child. You know what I mean? That
I
child
get
has
it.
has
I get
enough
you
to deal
saying
with.
that.
You know what I mean? That child has enough to deal with, and I'm not trying to put anything else on it. You know what I mean? And if the music continues to try to copyright me and try to interfere in my business, yes, I will go ahead and play her Facebook video back of her saying good things and positive things. So therefore, her child will hear good things and positive things about don't throw rocks and be nice and help people. You know what I mean? Because I'm not mistaken,
Mhm.
she said some of those things in that chat or in that video. And but if they keep it up, you llamas out there, go ahead and let them know. I'll just play her saying good things, and maybe that will change their perspective. Will it?
You no, I hate to say it, like you're positive there. You have a positive disposition, but I don't think they're going to change for anything.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
don't.
just to be honest.
I don't either. I hope. I pray and I hope.
Yeah,
Oh look, my deer did come out. The deer did come out. I told you the deer come out during the live. You see him back there?
yeah, we get that. It's like the same thing with you, man. Yeah, let me see if I can.
Didn't you see him?
No, not
That's
really.
Mama.
Not from mine. But oh yeah, I see him now. Yeah. Yeah,
The one in
your
the
hat.
front,
Yeah,
Mama.
yeah, I see him perfectly now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome,
But yeah,
man. That's what we have out here, you know. You get to set
isn't it
out, watch
great?
nature. Yeah, I love
It's
it.
awesome. I'll give you guys some. But yeah, so that's the bizarreness of it, dude. It's like these people and I feel bad for that child. I literally do. You know what I mean? And they say all these atrocious things about me trying to, you know, whatever and think I'm trying to make me out to be some monstrous child. Like I don't get how this YouTuber's good, but that YouTuber's bad. And then that YouTuber's bad, but then you go yell at that YouTuber. Like I'm just like, and that poor child literally is probably confused. You know what I mean? And it's sad that if they would never say nothing to me and just leave me alone, she'd never know. Like there would be nothing. They could play with her over there. They could do her thing, and then they could prove to the world because I got my high tech microphones and my 82 360 satellite cameras. How they could prove to the world that they're out there playing with their child like normal parents do. You know what I mean? Because they would be in the background,
Well,
right?
and they
So,
talk about that stuff a lot. They're like, "Oh, we just want to, have normal things like normal parents." No, normal parents don't go out, and I've never had my kids outside screaming at people that I claim publicly that I don't like. I've never involved my kids in doing something like
so
that ever.
And so let me ask you this. How would you feel? So is it me trying to exploit this child or whatever by utilizing her? Like obviously you watch the video. It was like it all happened. I'm talking to
It's
you
not
guys
your
like I'm telling you like guys know.
responsibility.
Like, there's the
It,
deer. Like they did that. They're the ones who interjected that child into the live, right? Like
It's
it
not
was
your responsibility to keep their voice out when they're screaming from their property. And again, you know what they're doing. Like it's so bizarre. So yesterday, they have their lackeys too, and one of their
oh,
lackeys came out and was saying that when you listen to that video, you can't hear anything. All you could hear was Super Dave, and it was just because of the kid was excited. She was doing that on her
oh,
own. And
goodness.
and I was like, no, you can hear the kid being prompted to do it.
No,
You can hear her.
no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I mean that has nothing to do with you. I don't even understand. So walking it back on that day, you just start out, you're doing a live stream, and they just start yelling because. I mean that's the way that's the
That
way I
that's
saw it.
Pretty much, and usually that's, I mean, honestly, and that's where like, I could speak, and nobody else out there on the planet can speak from my shoes because I don't care, even if you're the llama on that side or you're the hater or whatever. Like I am at Tube Town. I was at Tube Town. I know, I hear, not that I film, not that I try, but I can hear. Ask the Hudson sisters. I tell you what, I'm going to be cleaning up Miss Sissy's property here pretty soon. She wants me to get just some stuff cleaned up over there, and she, her property backs up to their property, and so therefore it's like they all have to hear it as well. They can testify to it, but like literally, it's just that. I mean, for kind of loud. Terry, this stopped by yesterday. He was like, when they were signing a guest book, you could hear it. It's that, you know what I mean? It's just, it's a lot of yelling. It really is. And
we could hear it. So there's a video by the guy that Jeremy calls Biscuit Boy. You know, he put up a video and somebody sent it to me and was like, listen to this. Like, if you want to hear the yelling, listen to how loud it is in this video. So he's actually recording. He's walking down the road recording Tubetown, you know, showing around, trying to make excuses for these people.
Content.
Yeah, and they're so loud in the background, though. I don't just hear them; I can follow their conversation. I knew what they were talking about.
He probably
he had a microphone on his stuff, but it was just a basic microphone. I mean, it was the most bizarre thing, dude.
Dude, that's the truth, and so that it happens when their friends are there, obviously. Go there.
Who are they yelling at? I didn't even, you know, it's like, who in the world are they yelling that? Like, because they weren't yelling to him. They were just yelling to some random people out there somewhere. I had no idea.
So the way, if I remember correctly, when it started off, and again, I'm trying to interact with my chat and everything at the time, but they're yelling. And it started off as kind of an argument, right? Because I've heard it enough. But then her yelling at dude, you know, this and that, and then him saying whatever he says. You know what I mean? I kind of just tone out, but I could, you could distinguish his voice from her voice, obviously. But then, you know, I guess they might have decided to, okay, well, let's stop arguing because he's on a live, and let's go over there, let's go outside, and let's start playing as a family, maybe. You know what I mean? You know, and that's when next thing you know, randomly, the kid has never been outside like that and like screaming like that, you know, like happy, like mom coaxing her and like, you know, but yet prior to that, it was a bit of an argument. There's
oh yeah, you can hear the yelling and what sounded like an argument. I could hear that.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're there, you can hear it even more. You can tell, you know, I mean, you can definitely distinguish. Okay, well, they're not getting along, which, you know, hey, that happens to everybody, man. I'm not, you know, me and my wife don't get along all the time. You know what I mean? There's times me and her, you know, fighting. That's the way it is, man. That's the way it is. But when you're in the situation of these people and you have this child that you're using this child as all these, what I don't want to say excuses, but you use this child for all these different things, and then yet this child is continuously in this environment. In my opinion, it's not healthy for the child. You know what I mean? I think if whatever the case may be, well, maybe they should, you know, and if you look at Jeremy's video when they was talking about like all the bad things that the lady said about the guy, well, maybe they should do that. Maybe they should. And maybe that would be better for the child. Maybe her and the child without the dude would be a lot better. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Ooh, she said some bad things. I was going back. I've been organizing the screenshots and stuff. And some of the things, man. You know, and what's wild to me is the newest move in this is to deny that stuff's ever been said. It's like, wait a minute, you know, I screenshot it myself. You know, I went back and found a lot of this stuff on my own. So I independently verified it was real. Yeah. And it's not Jeremy Hales or other random people making it up. It's them, you know.
Right.
It's so bizarre. And let me add this. No one contact these people ever. No one also contact any government authority or anything like that. It does not help. So we're just having a conversation, you know.
Yeah, I'm not reading the chat or nothing, but I can't see it. But it's me, man. If you know, for those of you viewers who don't know my channel or know anything about me, man, it speaks for itself in this whole situation. If you wanted to go back and look at the history, you know, they could, you know, I'm still waiting on them to prove, like, where have I ever harassed them, where have I ever bothered them, where have I ever done anything to them. That open invitation out there to all the drama llamas, all the haters, everybody, then nobody can say nothing. You know, nobody can show nothing. They can't, you know, they'll take one thing out of context. When I was in a live one time, and they were talking about, somebody asked, like, why was Tubetown put there? And then somebody in the comments said, to harass the neighbors. And I laughed. I was like, yeah, to harass the neighbors, laughing, right? Mm-hmm. And you could tell in the context of the whole situation. Well, what did they do? They want to, you know, soundbite just that and be like, oh, look, Chavez said this, you know what I mean? And then get people to make an opinion, and then they don't want to go watch the truth. they'll be like, "Oh, I heard that soundbite, and I believe that." And
No, it's what it is proof after the fact. So, people
right,
do horrible things. I've seen this a lot of times with people. They'll do terrible things to a person, and then they'll be like, "Well, here's the proof, weeks later. So this proves we should have done what we did all along." And it's like, wait a minute, but you've been doing that for all this time. What's going on? That doesn't make any sense. That's how. Ultimately, it's a money grift, in my opinion. Though I think a lot of
dude.
the stuff that happens to you guys is done because of money.
I honestly, I'm thinking the same thing. My computer just died. It's a bummer. I'm thinking the same thing, just because of the fact of that's, you know, let's face it, nothing like Jeremy said before in his videos, like these people have gotten more now than they ever got their entire time. They got
Hmm.
what they wanted. And the fact of these other channels who are promoting them and whatever all is going on there, I just hope they got a good accountant, is all I gotta say. You know what I mean? Because and then on top of that, doesn't that tie into, like, in my opinion, again, I don't know. I speak not knowing, but just randomly thinking. Don't that tie into, like, if you get disability checks, Social Security, this and that? Like, shouldn't
Hmm.
that affect the fact of, okay, well, you now have an income of this, and so and kind of my point where I was getting at is the fact of, you know these channels. Okay, I know YouTube enough now. I know about being monetized. I'm a full-time YouTuber. That's what I do for my living. I make enough money to pay all my bills and save money. Some months I don't make quite as much, but luckily I got whatnot. So, but I can
Right.
honestly say that I generate enough revenue off YouTube to be a full-time YouTuber. These other channels, you can kind of look at their views. You can kind of get an idea. They're making some money off YouTube. Are they YouTubers? Are they doing it full time? No. But do they want more views? They want to make the money, like you said, the grip. Absolutely. So what do? They start talking about Jeremy Hales. They start talking about, the whole situation. They start talking about me, because next thing you know, and again, I'm, it's this is all Jeremy's story. I'm just his friend. I'm just part of it. You know what I
Right.
mean? But freaking,
Well,
that's
unfortunately
what
for
they need.
you,
They need
though.
that.
Yeah, unfortunately for you, just being his friend has
Dude,
put you, in the cross. And like I said, I like the fact, like, listening to you on this stuff. That's one thing I've liked. You're like, dude, is my friend. I don't give a crap what these people say. I'm going to be his
right.
friend anyway. That's a good friend. It needs that, to be honest.
Well, it's crazy because I'll see, like, I had a viewer, and I don't want to say her name, and
Mhm.
she was a longtime supporter, but the next thing I know, she's on my and I don't erase comments. So see, I know, like, unless it's very derogatory or obscene. I haven't erased a lot, and my mods know not to erase comments. If they want to say something they don't like about Jeremy, you can say it. If you want to say something you like about me, you can say it. I'll respond to it. You know what I mean? And you're always entitled to your opinion. Just don't be offensive. You can speak your mind about that situation. I don't mind it, but I'll be damned if I lost my train of thought. Ah, that happens a lot.
You were talking about comments, though, on your channel
Oh,
about
oh,
this
oh, oh,
situation.
oh, oh. So yeah, so there's a lady, like she's a long time supporter and everything, and then next thing you know, she's in the comments talking about, like, I can't believe you, and you're doing this and doing that, or whatever the comment said. I can't quote it verbatim, but I'm just like, wow. I'm like, wow, I had no idea, but they totally flipped the script on me. And like, at what point in time did I do what I did to have supporters flip their script? So once again, if I wanted to bring up things, that's proof right there of previous comments and support from the supporter to comments now, that their
Yeah, where
defamation
people
of
have
me is
damaged you.
affecting my
Hmm.
business. It's damaging
Yeah,
my income.
yeah.
And because I am a full-time YouTuber, I don't do it for side change. This is my job. This is my life. This is what I do for a living. And when they try to affect it, you know what I mean? That 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 puts them at risk as well. Do you want to be in a lawsuit too? Like, I mean, haven't you guys figured it out enough by now with what's going on? Like, but
Somebody
so
said,
people.
OCC actually means your orange cat come. That's what it is. It's like, hey, come here, orange cat. That's what that's about. I'm glad they
Hey,
solved that one there.
you know what's funny about that dude talking about OCC, and he says Orange County Choppers. I heard it, and the cop
Hmm.
was like, huh, because the cop knew what he was talking about too. And so now it's just like, well, dude, you shouldn't. You should be like, all right, dude, we know what you're talking about. You should really back off. You know what I mean? That's what the cop should have said, something to that effect. But the Orange County Choppers, like, literally, I filmed the Orange County Choppers. I knew Mikey. I like Paul Senior, Rick, Cody. You know what I mean? We did an episode.
Hmm.
I broke my leg. Was it that show or not? Yeah, I think it was that show. Yeah, it was that show. I broke my leg at a show we were filming. It's one of Orange County Choppers episodes. Like we did this Louisiana Superdome, and we were there. And that's back when they were really big. And they come over and hang out with us because we had a big area and they weren't swarmed by the people. And we become friends. But yeah, so I legitimately have a connection with Orange County Choppers. So I'm not sure what kind of connection the neighbor has, but I guess maybe
That's
I should start
funny.
putting up some OCC signs at Tubetown.
I mean, it's funny that they've tried to use that as well. We all know that that's not what that means.
Right.
It
Well,
has nothing
exactly.
to do with, and the police do too. Actually, that's
Right.
one thing that I found kind of gross with Otter Creek. There are police officers that on body cam have said some things that they look kind of biased. And again, I'm not asking for comment on that. I know you live there, so
Right. No, you're right though. My opinion stands the same way. You know what I mean? Now, is it a cop just using discretion and being could it be? It very well could be. You know what I mean? I don't know until I have an interaction with them that I have to make another assumption. But could it be them just kind of trying to keep the cool calm on this side by talking to him, kind of like making it seem he's agreeing, but he's doing his paperwork. Is that the case time after time after time after time? I don't know, but
I
it
would
very
look
well
at it.
could be a possibility, right?
My problem with something like that is if I have a protective order against somebody, it has been violated multiple times, and they know it, whether they want to enforce it or not. They know it
Right.
exists. After that, they don't need to be placating the people that are doing this. They need to be telling them, the best advice for those people is not to be doing anything. That is the best advice. And,
That's why
law
they built the
enforcement.
fence. So that's why they built the fence, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yep. Yeah, supposedly, and they got, again, they got a fortune for this stuff. I mean, if you follow just a couple of donators, period, like there was another donator that dropped some crazy money. And when you start tracking this stuff, we could be talking 6 figures or more. They
Shut
got
up.
it.
Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah,
No
man.
way, dude.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, for real.
What?
I mean, no
What?
joke, dude. No joke, man.
Yeah.
Like,
And the thing about it is,
is-
it all can be traced. If it's all through, again, I don't know if they realize because I have PayPal. Like everything is done
Mhm.
through the government now. Because I had to switch things up on my account this year because I was like, hey, freaking, we have more income coming in. You know what I mean? And you can't, not show your income from YouTube, not show your
Yeah.
income from PayPal. You know what I mean? It's all there. So all the donations that come in, so somebody could literally go back and like probably add it all up and be like, hey, man, what a
Oh yeah, well, and they're playing. They keep talking about gifts, like they don't have to report gifts. You do have to report gifts over a certain amount because
yeah,
everything is a gift. When you look at it, when somebody
right.
gives you a super chat, that is technically a tip or a gift, but you don't get to play that game. The
No,
government wants
so
its slice.
right. I said, okay, let me give you an example. I know an example how that works in a sense, in a way, but not a way. For example, doing shows overseas, right? Like
Mhm.
I can go overseas and I can do a show out of the country and don't hold me to it. But if I'm gone for longer than 8 months, I don't have to pay taxes on it or something to that effect. Again, this was a show that came up a long time ago for China, and it was like a long term show, and the show still goes on. It's like the something of the waters
Yeah.
or something. It's a really awesome show. But if and I talked to my accountant about this back then. Like if you're overseas for a certain amount of time and you make your money over there, you don't have to pay tax on it or something to that effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, primary
But
residence. Yeah.
but there was a limit to it. You know what I mean? The government's going to have a limit on everything. You know what I mean? They're going to have you like the way they want to have you. Like you said, like you can't just keep getting gifts and like, oh well, we're not going to take our taxes on it. You're not a church, for
Right.
crying out loud. You know what I mean? Churches can
Yeah.
do that, right? Churches don't get taxed, and they get people giving them money and gifts or whatever. But like, unless you're a church, I don't think that applies to you. I think there's going to be a limit at some point. I could be
There
wrong.
he is. No, you're right. At a certain place, at a certain point, you do. Well, churches are a little bit different. Churches
Churches,
have
obviously,
different
churches are
rules.
different. That's what I'm saying. But are these people, are these children? They're not churches. So if they're getting all this money, do they not realize, like, dude,
Well,
Uncle Sam's gonna find out, and like you're gonna be like, oh, wait a minute, I owe that much taxes on that much money, but wait a minute, I gave it to that person over there or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
You can't do that with a five. You know, they've talked about wanting to use the 501c3 to dodge that. You also can't do that. You know, you can't say I'm running a charity, but you know I don't have any money whatsoever. You know, I'm indigent, but at the same time, I have tens of thousands of dollars flowing in, and you know it's not going to that charity. You absolutely
Right.
know it's not going to that.
Well,
Ugh,
they've already
that
proven
garbage
that, I
barrier.
think. Yeah, they've kind of proven that already. So I think they've got their foot in their mouth on that one. They can't try to use that, because if that was the case, like, you know what? Let me ask you this: how many people are watching this thing right now? Just so I was curious.
Let's
Couple hundred,
see. About no 2,400.
2,000. Holy cow! So let me
Yeah.
ask you this: if she's running this turtle rescue or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Do they post pictures of the turtles and show the turtles like, hey, look at this, let's celebrate, you know, Salamander Pete,
No,
you know, and do they show these turtles? Do they
no,
talk
actually,
about them? They show
no.
updates on them?
No, there
So there's
isn't.
nothing.
You
So
know,
there's nothing about that.
no, there hasn't been. You know, and that's the strange thing about it too. You know, there have been
Damn turtle
serious
rescue. They only show
questions
the
about
turtles
it.
that. Oh my gosh, people, you can wake up for crying out loud. Well, maybe they will still show them. Like, how can you have a turtle rescue that you like? To me, in my opinion, okay, for example, I used to help manage a horse rescue, and I tell you what, research. It's called a retirement home for horses. Peter Gregory started that thing. That was a great man, and I love that man dearly. And God rest his soul. Still there to this day. His son Paul's running it, but it's a place that takes in used and abused horses over 30 years old who basically have no chance. They're basically getting euthanized if they get seized in a abuse thing or whatever. But the fact of, if you're running a rescue, and they do things about the horses, talk about the horses, talk about this horse came in and had this situation. If you want to donate, you can donate. You know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, if I had a 501c3 and that's what my heart and passion was at, I'd be
Mm.
showing these turtles. I'm like, look, let's
Oh yeah,
build this
all the
aquarium
time,
bigger.
man.
Let's
Hmm.
let's 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 get a solar powered, you know, pond. Let's you know, like, let's do all these great things for this turtle rescue they have. But evidently they don't have no turtles they're showing. So okay, that's a whole nother. I didn't even think about that until I asked it. But wow, okay. Maybe we'll start showing them now. Maybe if you're watching this, John Malamas, let them know to start showing the turtles. They could probably get a few donations for them if they have
Well,
them.
that actually should be the case. I mean, like you said, if they're actually doing this and they're supposedly putting money, resources into that whatsoever, it should show. You should be able to see that. They have, again, they're accepting money for it, but they're playing again, it's all this weird game. They've had more GoFundMe's and resource drives than I have ever seen individuals do. I've never seen a group of people run this many, you know, and we're not talking about just the things connected to Jeremy Hales, you know, saying, "Oh, I've
Right,
got to raise money for a fence or a
right.
house or this or that." You know, outside of that, I've never seen this much effort, and it keeps going. It'll be endless. They will never stop until people take them to court and break them financially. It will never stop.
It seems like it seems like that's, as they call it, the grifting.
Mhm.
Well, you know what I mean. It seems like that's what they blame all of us for doing, but that's what they do. It's so funny. It's like, it's so elementary schoolish, I guess, in a sense. Like, you're gonna blame that person over there for what you're doing, and that's exactly what they're doing, and it's so obvious. And you know what? To all the people out there who don't want to see past it, and they're just stuck on their side. You know what? I love you guys too. You know, best wishes to you. You just really should start to kind of see, and I'm open to discuss having discussions with somebody who doesn't agree with me. I'm open to talking to somebody like, hey, if they're open to like talking about it, like, hey, you ask me a serious question, ask me a question about whatever situation. You know what I mean? If you're on the,
Mhm.
if you're the opposing side, it's great. If we can have a conversation about it, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you about it. But they won't do that. You know what I mean? Just because of the fact of, it's all about bad Jeremy, bad Chavez. They did this, they did that. Give me this, give me money, give me. You know what I mean? That's what it seems to be. What it's becoming. You know, feel bad
I've,
for me.
I've said you know, I've said, and I'll say it again on here, that if Lynette Preston or John Cook would like to do an interview, that I'm totally open for it. Now, I will make it clear too. I will ask what questions I want to ask. It is my channel, and
Right.
They're not going to get that free ride. I will not, however, let their lawyer come on or their ex-lawyer ever. I've made that clear. He does not get to come on.
Is that guy a lawyer, really? That guy, Bruce,
Yeah,
right? Is that who you're talking
yeah,
about?
he is. Yes, he very much is. He is a lawyer. Yes. He is. No, it's amazing sometimes to say, but he is.
Yeah.
I had to catch my breath laughing about it.
Oh man.
No, you run into lawyers sometimes and you're like, really? It's like anything. Like, you're going to get you're going to get people that you are going to questionably say,
right.
Are they any good at this? Now, hopefully there's less of those in, say, doctors than there are lawyers, because I've seen some pretty horrible ones.
Well, I think it would. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, somebody else asked, Sassy Mama asked, hey, serious question. Do you think this stems from the fact that these people, they say she, but any of these people actually want what you have or any other people have, meaning a friendship with Jeremy, a successful YouTube business channel and more? Do you think that's jealousy, essentially, that these people are reflecting?
Maybe, but honestly, they put themselves in that situation with the whole. Okay, if people haven't followed the story long enough to know, people understand. They know that they literally moved to Shady Oaks Campground prior to where they're at, and how the whole situation went down. And it's they, they did exactly what Jeremy says. They stopped them there, and it's obvious, in my opinion. This is my opinion, for those reasons. I never, I have friends that are extremely wealthy. You know what I mean? Like extremely wealthy. You know what I mean? That's what and I'm not talking about Jeremy. And I try to put myself. I want to put myself around people like how I want to be, like how I want to get, like and learn from them. And the fact that, man, it gets my brain gets going so fast with this tug, dude. It's like these people.
Well, you live it, man. Like, people don't understand this. Like, you guys are living in. This is your living experience. It's not a story online. It's not some kind of fake drama. It's real.
Right. and that's where, man. Like I was going back to us, I guess back to what I was getting at is they literally did it. They stalked Jeremy there in hopes to get that, and then obviously with Half Meal Time to Grill, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. They asked if they that's it's so obvious now that that's what they were doing. They were trying to, and I hadn't followed Jeremy that long at the time. You know what I mean? So I didn't really know Jeremy that much, other than what I had been following before, and I'm not sure how much they were following prior to that or whatever. But it was pretty obvious that that's exactly what they're doing. I've been very fortunate to be Jeremy's friend, and I've always said this from the get-go. Having a friend that has an audience like that, he has such great support. They jump on and support his friend, which would be me, and so I get a lot of my viewership from Jeremy. You know what I mean? And I have no, I don't like disagree with it. Nothing. I'm very thankful and fortunate for it. But at the same time, Jeremy knows, like, I put in the work. You know what I mean? I didn't just, hey, would you help promote my channel? And the next thing you know, I start making money. Like, literally. He plugged my channel one time at the very beginning, and I was so grateful for that, because the next thing I had 700 subscribers. I had like 33 subscribers, and then I did that video with him. I think it was when we turned the finger around, and I stepped out the truck. It was called the in-law or whatever. And I think he plugged my thing there, and I was so pumped and grateful. But after that, you know what I mean? I just worked. I filmed for an entire year, making videos. People laughing at me, saying whatever I'm going to say, like out there filming myself, doing whatever I'm doing. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be a full-time YouTuber. I know a guy now, and now he's my friend. I know a guy who's very successful with this. This looks fun. I have fun traveling the world riding a dirt bike, but the C word came along and all that kind of stuff slowed down. YouTube came about, and then that's my new career. And so, yeah, they might be a little jealous of it, just because of the fact of, I'm there. I'm at the very infancy stage of my channel where I'm a full-time YouTuber. But Jeremy knows I work for it. I didn't look for no handouts from him. He knows I'll be honest with you, dude. I could probably be selling. Jeremy probably laughs about it. He's probably shaking his head if he sees this. He's like, you're right. If I literally took more of Jeremy's advice that he's given me, and I haven't asked for a lot, you know what I mean, and put it to principle, and the more things I would do, I could probably be even double the success I am now. But the difference is Jeremy has a work drive. I work my butt off the way I do, but he has a serious work drive, and like with his members, they're like he has crafted his YouTube craft, like we call it race craft, his YouTube craft so well. It's a fine old machine to where he's very successful at it, and I look forward to being there. But at the same time, I want to have fun. You know what I mean? And I think Jeremy, in just my opinion, he's starting to have more fun, you know what I mean? Because of all the stress stuff that's been going on for the past year or whatever, it's getting back to the treasure hunting, getting back to goofing off. Like, I'll be going to Ohio soon. Like, I let it out in my video the other day that I'll be going up and hanging out with Jeremy. We're going to be doing, goofing off. I don't know. I'm going to get a one-way head to Ohio, and then we'll see what happens from there. But, getting back to the fun of things and the fun in life, because, that's where it's at. And like, I could just kind of see it, and it changes this, knowing Jeremy, hanging out with Jeremy, when he's around, like, you could tell when the stress is on, and the fact that, it's his life. He has to document it. It's accountability. And we'd much rather be playing tag in the woods and e-bikes and goofing off. I promise you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Nobody wants to know that. The whole idea that this is a content drive is so dumb, because the amount of money that he's had to put into this thing, not the stress or anything, just the money is. We are talking. I mean, imagine having to dump $300,000 into something.
Yeah.
Lord.
But that's where it's like, you know what? Like you said, it's the principle now. It boils down to the principle. You know what? And Jeremy's, he's that type of he's that's why me and him get along, I think, so much. Even though he's a northerner and I'm a southerner, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't always see eye to eye and everything, but at the same time, I guess, how do you say it? Just don't piss me off and don't poke the bear, because I will outwork you. I will outwork you. I promise you. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If I'm going to outwork you, I'm going to outwork you. And then there's nothing you can do about it. And like you said, he will just outwork everybody to just, no matter the money, just for the principle, and to hopefully set a precedent for other people in the future to not try to latch on to a successful YouTuber. Again, I'm successful at YouTube, but I'm not like that. You know what I mean? But that's what people try to do. They'll try to latch on. They're like an amateur chaser, right? They'll try to, get free money or get free promotion just because of the fact of somebody else has created their own success. You know what I mean? And they want part of it, but they're not willing to work for it.
Well, that's the accusation that it's the level of, that at the heart of all of this, that is the accusation that these people, they wanted all of that. They wanted the free ride. They wanted to get everything. And when they didn't, they decided to burn someone's life down, and
right.
It's so strange to see somebody that says, no, that's not what we did, and they still go after a person, or they have somebody, a third party, do it. Again, if I had a protective order against me, that especially with some of the stuff that's come up with the almost arrest and everything else, I would be laying low. I would definitely be hiding out. I would not be sitting out there like poking the bear, but they do. They do it.
But think about this though now, and because I watched Jeremy's video, and I'll see that the body cam footage, or body audio mostly. But that's another thing. We're 2025. Come on, Levy County, you can't get enough funds up to get body cams for everybody, or is there a reason? But my point is, like, I don't know. What were you just saying? I'll get it back in a minute.
It happens, man. Like I said, I do that.
I get so fired up, Bob.
Well, outpace you get going. You outpace your own thoughts. I mean, man, I get that happening. It's happened to me a bunch of times.
I had something I was going with, but it's just something to do with the audio. And it'll come back to me. If you just stop, leave me alone. Okay, just if you're watching, just leave me alone, and you guys do your thing over there. If you don't, then you're gonna get used to listening to yourself, tell yourself nice things. Drama llamas, you can relate that back to the neighbors across the street.
These people are not going to leave you alone, Travis. You know that. I mean, let's be honest, man. You've asked before. Again, you did I saw so much of your coverage where, you're out here saying, hey, I'm building this thing up. Look at me. I'm doing something positive. Watch what I'm doing. And you had so many opportunities where you could have gotten involved in drama if you wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
And you avoided it. I mean, you have tried it, but they don't let you try, they're all over wanting you to be involved in it, wanting you to, They want to do
That,
they want to do damage.
that's just it, though, isn't that? And doesn't that just prove the point again of them just trying to grift off the people who don't like Jeremy or don't like myself because I'm friends with Jeremy and because of what we do or whatever. Like they're pity me, and like it's just that's what they're doing. Like they'll make videos of us of whatever or talk about us, which will get them the people to send them things or send them gifts or whatever. You know what I mean? But like I said, if they literally stopped. Okay, he's going to document what's happening because it's his life, right? But if the neighbors would just stop like filming me, right? What are they going to have to talk about? Especially if Jeremy's doing treasure hunting right now, what happens? They have nothing for the other people to grift about to supply them with money or however that works. Like they have no content. They have
The only problem with all of that is that assumes that they tell any truth because
right.
they just make up shit. I mean, and there's things they'll be like, well, okay, there was the example of when they came to Otter Creek, they said that Jeremy had ran over 2 dogs, right? But we're gonna have some proof coming. These neighbors, they're saying this, that, and the other. That never happened. There was never any proof, never discussion.
Well, I heard somebody tell me that they said that Jeremy paid DJ Radis to be at Christmas in the Creek. Like that, like where did they even come up with that? Jeremy didn't even talk to DJ Radis. I talked to DJ Radis. I'm the one who told DJ. Me and DJ Radis been collaborating about that long before any of that. And like next thing you know, all of a sudden, Jeremy paid DJ Radis to be at the Christmas in the Creek. And it's like that's why I say I laugh so much. And even Deanna, I'm like the stuff they say is like because we all know it's not true. It's just so funny, but it's like literally. It's just lie after lie after lie.
It's insane too, though. Yeah, it may be some of it's funny, but some of it's just it's nuts. Like some of it's absolutely crazy, man. Like people have said, like Sassy here says, been following Jeremy since his camp videos before him and George. I would just ask him, do you think they're jealous of of you? And him starting up with you. So do you think too, like they come after you, not just because of content, but they're jealous that you have a specific relationship with him? Maybe that is part of it. Yeah, maybe they wanted to get in there and you did, and you guys are friends.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? And that just goes to show, well, you guys still weren't getting nothing unless you worked your tail off and did what I did. You know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't look for handouts or anything from Jeremy. Jeremy's not giving handouts to anybody. Jeremy gives hand ups. You know what I mean? Right. He helps people. There's a difference between a handout and a hand up. And I think that's what all of them are looking for. They're looking for handouts. And that's the same thing. Like I've always said before, if I need any advice from Jeremy, there's been a handful of times where next thing I just come walking in and I'm like, I need advice. And like, what you got? You know what I mean? And I'll go on whatever it is. That's how our conversation will start. I need some advice on this. I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to do the wrong thing. What do you think about this? And then, and it's only been a handful of times. But like the old saying goes, you catch a man fish, he eats for the night, but you teach a man to fish, he eats for life. And that's where I think, mine and Jeremy's relationship has become to where he lets me make my mistakes. He lets me learn, my avenues. He's not just going to, hey, Travis, do this. You know what I mean? Because I've always said, I want to learn. That's the only way to learn is by your mistakes. And like I said, could I be a lot more successful? I did more of the stuff he said, probably. But you know what? I'm having a blast where I'm at. I'm having a blast with my viewers. All my chats, my comments speak volumes. You know what I mean? I get so like heartfelt when like some of my emails that come in. Like I just want to still sticks with me. Is like, I give lonely people a place to go with my videos. And I'm like, wow, man, that really makes me want to go make videos and just be the goofball that I am. Weed eating, cutting, climbing pole, whatever it is. I say climbing poles. I look at a pole and I thought about climbing it. So I just said that. But like, that makes me feel good. That just drives me to make videos for other people, which in turn, my reward is I get to do that. I get to help others smile. I get to help others have fun. And with my videos, which in return pays my living. You know what I mean? And so how I got spun off on this, I'm not too sure, man. I just all this, the crazy bizarreness is probably because of what you said, because they're upset the fact that, I become friends with Jeremy. I'm successful at YouTube. Trust me, I'm gonna be a lot more successful. I'm coming after you, Tug. I'm gonna try and beat you. You're at what, 373? I got a little ways to go, but man, I'm gonna start climbing. But I got my 50. My next goal is 50,000 on my What's Doing Wheels channel. We're almost at 15,000 on TubeTown, I think. So I almost got almost between the two channels. I almost got 50,000. But you know what? Like I said, I'm having a blast with it. My viewers speak volume, my comments, and that's what continues me to let the neighbors do and say what they want to say. It doesn't bother me. They can.
I dropped your newest video, by the way, in the chat for the chat to know.
Oh, awesome!
So,
appreciate you.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, that one documents the sound thing. Again, it is these people. They go out and they play the victim. They pretend that somehow, in some way, that you're doing something. You're out there. You're entertaining people. You're not doing anything with them whatsoever.
That was yesterday. That happened yesterday. That literally happened on Thursday. The video that you just posted up.
Mm-hmm.
It shows it right there. It shows it. Like
yeah,
you said,
I'm glad, but it's so bizarre to see people deny the reality of stuff. I mean, again, gaslighting, it drives me nuts because you see the proof of it. It's undeniably there, and they're like, no, that's not actually what you're seeing. Yeah, we didn't do that. But it's there. You can hear it. What are you talking about?
Me and my wife laugh about it all the time because it's like and that's why I said earlier, because they don't want to go back and watch the proof. They don't want to see the proof. They don't want to believe. They only want to believe the narrative of the haters. You know what I mean, or the John Malamas. And so without going and watching the actual proof, where it's like, okay, well, that really just happened, so I can't deny it. Like.
Could you imagine making up your mind? See, I can't live like that. I have to know. I have to go and look because I don't want to be wrong in these situations.
Right. Exactly.
Some people are apparently okay with not only, when you're in the wrong in a situation like this. I mean, you're talking about like these are real people's lives. It's hard to stress that online. Real people are being harassed. Real people are having their lives threatened. And some of the people that are involved, they have some extensively bad shit in their pasts. Some of the people who've gotten involved recently, especially, oh my God, man.
Yeah. And that's where, don't they see that? Don't the people look into that and see that and see what's going on in the sense of, okay, well, all this stuff has happened, and it's all actually still concurrent or still going on, still probation, still this, still that, and it's like, but yeah, we're gonna believe them. The fact of the guy, next thing you know, admitted about the gun, lied about the gun, the PP, whatever, and then next thing you know, finally admitted it. Okay, so right there, so now all of a sudden, okay, he finally admitted that he's lying, but we're gonna go back to believing him again. He's telling the truth now.
Oh, that whole thing with the gun, that's crazy. So, anybody that wants to go back and look at that whole thing with Patty, again, I bring up Patty in that. All the statements in there, they admitted to everything except Cook didn't admit to pointing it directly at them, but lied about the firearm, lied about pulling it out, and finally admitted it all. They found the thing there and everything. God, that's crazy, man.
So how do people not now? They're like, oh no, they're good. They're not lying. They're not lying because they lied then, but they didn't lie. They're not lying now.
Yeah, exactly. They set down they set down this proof before. When you see it, when you've caught somebody not just lying one or two, and it's not a lie about something small. They're lying about something huge. And when they lie about that, why would you ever believe them again?
Because
I don't get it. I really don't get it. I mean, like I said, I understand. I've been online long enough to understand that some people just want to fuel the fire and fuel the stupid. But some of these idiots that are out there, they believe. I mean, they're actual believers. And it's bizarre because they'll put up statements saying, I don't watch these other channels. I don't look at that. I only look at what you have to say. Telling the ecosystem people that. And I'm like, they don't show you proof, man. They don't show you court documents. What's going on?
So how can you show your intelligence level if you sat there and said, okay, well, I'm only going to listen to you, I only believe in you, without being, okay, well, I need to, like a judge, for crying out loud. Okay, if you got to go to a judge has to listen to both sides. The deal with Randy and the Bruce guy. Like Randy got sanctions, right? And so like the judge is the judge, so he has to look at both sides. But if you're showing your intelligence level, like I'll admit when I'm wrong. If I've done something wrong, I ask anybody out there, you go and email me what I've done wrong, and you can show me what I've done wrong. I will apologize for it, because there's sometimes I do things wrong and I don't realize it, and I will go back and apologize for it. I'm a grown man. Like I have no problem if I make a mistake, own up for it. But nobody's ever been able to do that. They just want to, like you said, listen to that one side, believe that one side, and that's just like, well, you're not that intelligent of a person. If you're just going to believe one person, you're not going to get both sides of the story. And to me, that's for me. If there's these police reports on me, right? If they said they had these police reports on me about whatever the other day, well, they have my number. Why don't they call me? Like, yo, what's going on with this? Why don't they get my statement? You know what I mean? Like, I don't. It's just
Well, that's the reason I wanted to talk to you. You know, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to reach out to Travis, because there's all this buzz, you know, and all this talk about it. Well, why not just cut to Travis and see what he has to say on it?
That's where I had no idea until Deanna pulled. I was at Tubetown filming at I was at 2.0. I was filming, and then she pulled up. She's like, "Oh, did you hear what happened yesterday?" I'm like, "No, what now?" And she's like, "Evidently they said that there's not one, but there's two police reports that were filed on you." And I'm like, "What? Are you serious?" I don't even
understand what that's for. Like seeing what happened in those days. Like, what are they filing a police report about?
So in my live today, I did my Tubetown live today, I was told that I guess it was Biggins. Everybody refers to him as Biscuit Boy. I know him as Biggins. That's how he introduced himself to me, and it is what it is. That's how I know him.
Right.
But evidently somebody said that he said I was supposed to be getting a cease and desist letter. And about what? Like, it's so like they just have to come up with a drama, dude. I mean, I'm telling you, they want to come up with a lie.
They can't tell somebody like yourself to cease and desist. They've already tried to say that they need to keep pushing and pushing. And the problem is they have already pulled you into litigation that was garbage. They left it, you know, you you definitely have a case for them falsely accusing you of crap, them harassing you repeatedly, defaming you, and more. I mean, you have a case for it, and they keep pushing it. Like they want you to, they want to push
it's
you.
Almost like they want me to go ahead and tell the legal team to go ahead and pull the trigger. You know what I mean? It's like, because they know, you know, I've said it. Jeremy said it. Like, yes, I have been into. I know what I got. I know what I can do. It's just a matter of, you know, just. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they continue to do, and then we'll see what I do.
You're like me, man, in that. You know, I don't like spending my time in a lawsuit. I don't want to have to sue anybody. I'm sure, like Jeremy or anyone else doesn't want to either. Now, that's a unique case anyway. He's, you know, you guys are living across the street from these crazy people, so that is a much different situation there.
Yeah. Well, I think, and the big difference is, and not to beat the dead bush, but the fact they keep crying victim, and like I said, they put the fence up and they want to keep peeking through it. They want to play music out through it. You know, it's like they cage themselves in their own prison now. It seems like, and they can't stand it, and that's where it's like they kind of keep dragging more and more things up about what's going on the other side of the fence. So
it's just strange to me, though. It's bizarre, you know. Them doing as adults is one thing. That's bad enough. But again, to hear a little kid being brought in, screaming things across. First of all, to hear the claims that they made about like yourself, about, oh, the child is afraid of Travis, you know, making you this boogeyman. I'm like, well, you know, the parents did that. That's not you. Right. If the kid truly believes that, that would be because somebody else forced that. But then to you know, hear this other stuff. Obviously that's not true. You know, if the kid feels comfortable enough to be screaming this stuff and, you know, trying to interrupt, they're not terrified of you. That is not the reality. Yeah. But I don't know, man.
My problem with that is like the confusion of the poor child. You know what I mean? Yeah. How's the poor child? They're telling you, don't go out there. Because literally, I've heard it. I've heard them say it before. You can't go out there. The bad man's out there. You know, I've been over there Tubetown working. And again, like I said, I don't try to capitalize or play it or all that stuff. I've edited stuff out of my video before just because I didn't want it in there and have to deal with it. But you can't go out there to the bad man. But then next thing you know, run out there and yell at the bad man. Like, that child is probably just very confused, and that's sad. Like, I mean, she's what, like, I don't know how old she is. You know, she's young, probably between 5 and 7. something like
Yes,
that.
I think 5. I don't know specifically. I think she's still 5, but I'm not. Don't quote me on that. You
Right,
know.
right. No, exactly. But I know she's like in that range. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
it's like, and that's their most impressionable years. You know, those are some of the most impressionable years for that child, and what all is going on. Like it's just I pray something better happens, whatever it may be. You know, God intervenes in whatever way He does, and it works out best for the child.
I'm just like I said, I've never seen anybody weaponize everything in their life to try to ruin everybody there has had a problem. It looks like, I've heard the other police reports where the other neighbors were brought in, so for them to say, I only have problems with one neighbor. No, you don't. No, you
Right.
don't. You have problems with quite a few other people in this
Yeah,
little town.
yeah, and that's where they keep doing it though. Like with the music, you'll see in that video. Like I'm literally at the ranch in the driveway, and you can hear the music blasting down the street. So that stinks for the Hudson sisters. That stinks for Miss Gale. That stinks for the
Wow.
other gentleman. He was on my line. We waited each other all the time. I don't know his name. He lives next door to them, to the immediate next door to them. Yeah, Miss Tommy. The whole street's not that big, but pretty much everybody has to listen to whatever they decide to play if I'm there and they're playing. They want to play stuff. Like
Yeah,
you'll hear,
that's
like I said,
awful,
you'll hear the
man.
music, the video.
That is so inappropriate, to go out and to force everyone else to. So it's petty. It's petty is what it is. It's very petty.
And it's
All right,
and
man,
it's
well,
petty and proven. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
proven like from the video. We're there playing. They don't like it that we're out there having a game of Tube Town, not even talking about them, having fun, filming content, and then next thing you know, here it comes, and then it just gets So you're right. I mean that it's the nail on the head. It's petty.
You had another question too. Do you know anything about Lloyd? Do you know? Again, if you follow up with him
Yeah,
at
he's
all, do you
doing
know he's
good. Yeah,
okay?
I mean,
Right.
I haven't talked to him recently, but everything's been going good. He's
Mhm.
he's been recovering. So,
Yeah.
and that's where it's like, I try to, I'm not trying to keep his life involved in all this and everything. I know people
Right.
were interested in stuff like that, but yeah, he's gotten up there. His life has moved on. He's kind of moved on, and we just kind of let Lloyd go on. It's not that anything bad has happened by no means. It's just the fact of like, he's gotten out of that situation. He's gotten with his family, and gotten
Well,
healed.
that's good though
So
that
he's
he was
doing
able
good.
to move on. I thought you guys did a really good thing there because none of you, when you guys went to the property over there, you could tell none of you want to be there, and none of you do not want to be there. You know how it's going to turn into some stupid drama. All of your
Yeah.
recording, but I mean, you could just tell from when you all discuss it beforehand. When the videos, you could just tell everybody's like, "Oh my god, this is going to suck," but you did it
Right.
anyway. Y'all sucked
Right.
it up. You did it for him.
And
Did
and that's and let's go back and let's do a shout out to Corporal Gregory, Levy County Sheriff's Office, happening to and him knowing we're not, we're he like I believe in Madam Mayor's video she talked about. She's like, we just want to facilitate and get us out of there. We want nothing to
yeah.
do with that. You know what I mean? And Corporal Gregory being there and facilitating, man, like again, kudos to him for being, there because darn well he didn't want to be there either.
No, I'm sure.
He's
He
like,
went.
"Ooh,
That was the last place
oh,
he was like, I don't want to be part of this at all.
okay.
I'm sure nobody. Oh, I just
No, so I remember what I forgot about earlier. The
uh,
the fact that because of watching Jeremy's video, and you wonder why nothing's ever happening. I remember them saying, that like they got Beecham, which I believe is the undersheriff, right? They got him like on speed dial, so they like communicate with him. And that if you're the undersheriff or you're the sheriff, or whatever, you're dealing directly with these individuals. You got direct contact. I don't know how that works, but that means, you know, they're probably going to favor that side, right? I mean,
the problem is I realize it's a small town, and you get a different opinion because people get to know each other. But law enforcement is an apparatus. It is not supposed to change just because you like somebody.
right.
They can hate Jeremy if they want to. They can see him as an outsider. But these people were outsiders too. And
Right.
they hated them all. They had a lot of terrible things to say about Otter Creek and a lot of terrible things to say about its residents. So for them to then come back and, to be buddies with all them. I mean, hell, Trespass 5 involved one of the sheriffs there. They sued him too. So you would think
And
they would be
here's the
like,
cool thing.
Yeah, you would think that would be a problem, like the sheriffs would be like, yeah, maybe I don't like these people either.
Right. Evidently not.
I would think so anyway. All right. Well, hey, I'm going to hit some super chats, brother. Is there anything else you want to cover before we?
Hey, no, man. I appreciate you coming on and I appreciate being able to talk about this outside of my channel because I try not to talk about too much of my channel, but it is stuff that I do want to say at times. So I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and say that. And so, yeah, man. No, just everybody just keep smiling and just live life because it's awesome to live and love it.
If you ever if you guys need someone, if you, a lot of times the drama will get brought to you, and I know you don't like bringing all this stuff up on your channel. If you ever want to come on, talk about something, and again, set something straight because a lot of people will talk about it, and you may mention it, but sometimes that also doesn't float to the surface.
Right.
People might miss your answer. So if something comes up, like I said, you can always hit me up if you want to come on and talk about stuff. You are always welcome. You guys are. I've found one positive thing out of this. All of you guys have been a decent human beings at the level. You, Madam Mayor, Jeremy, like you all have tried to help people in it. That's the thing that gets lost. Like the Lloyd story, for example. What really happened there? Well, you guys tried to help somebody. You were trying to be decent human beings.
Yeah.
And that's good.
And they want to spin it like it's an invasion.
Yeah. Well, people, you know what? A lot of people see what really happened. So don't, the drama, as you call them, the drama llamas, they are loud, but they are not representative of everyone out there.
Right. No, agreed.
Man,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, man.
I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the chat and see what everybody's talking about. But man, I do again. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And again, people need to subscribe to the channel. I'll hype the video a couple times when you're off, like I said, when we're going through, and I will just go through and talk. But I appreciate you, brother. If you ever want to come back on again, you are totally welcome.
Rock and roll, my man. Appreciate it. And everybody, I love you. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
See you, bro. All right, guys. I thought that was pretty good, man. I've been wanting to talk to Travis and actually just sit down and speak to him. There's I realized we went at a different time. I wanted to go a little bit earlier today. So that was just something I was able to do today, and it lined up with Travis. So I know it was out of the time zone. I didn't announce that we were going to do that, but it worked out. So let's go through some super chats here. Again, if you like the content, you enjoy the channel, think about backing it there. We also had, so there was there was a new thing that came up today too in the federal case. I will talk about tomorrow. It was actually pretty funny. It was an epic screw up, a lovely one. I kind of like it. And we'll talk about that, like I said, tomorrow. But today I wanted to just focus on everything that has been going on with Travis. I've been wanting to talk to him for a while. I'd actually tried to set up a discussion with him. I can't remember how many weeks ago. It's been a while when the stuff at the store, when all of that came up, that's been, God, weeks and weeks ago. But unfortunately, I had health problems. But I was able to swing back around to do something about that. So let's hit these. And pinned at the top of the chat is Travis's new video. The new video, the interesting thing about that, again, you have Travis out there. He's not doing anything wrong. He's out. He's filming. He's entertaining people. What do these people do? They go and they try to just blast music to ruin his live stream. They try to cause him problems. These are people that they say that they're not doing anything, that they want to be left alone, and yet they involve themselves in stuff like that. So let's hit this. Nocturnal One, kicking it off. Thank you for the membership there. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership. Welcome to Tugs. Appreciate that. Max Lab, thanks for the 2, and props to you for sending stuff over. Again, you've loved a Max Lab as always. That says, "What's up, Tug? Another crazy day. Maybe not smart." Yeah. Today, like I said, we'll talk about that tomorrow with the filings, but they went specifically against judge's order, and the judge struck it today. So it's going to be a fascinating talk. You'll enjoy it tomorrow. David, thanks for the 7 months. Sitting at a bar, bored. Thank God for Tug and Megan. I want to talk about it. Indeed. And like I said, today I thought it would be an interesting for a weekend. Megan has her stuff that she does family wise and more. And I like to continue to cover personally, but I've been wanting to talk to Travis for a minute. So Nadine, 4 months, not a statement attached, but 4 months is definitely a statement. Thank you, Nadine. Liz, thanks for the 34 freaking months. Liz, what's up? Appreciate you. Hello, Tug and Chat. Happy Friday. Indeed. Happy Friday. I hope you all enjoyed it, you know? Rob, I actually talked about the birdhouse thing to Travis. Should have mentioned this. So I mentioned to him when we contacted about the birdhouse and about the narrative that he had cameras all over the place, you know, in the birdhouse and more. He's like, man, that is the stupidest thing. I mean, we laughed at the beginning about the drone thing, which, oh my God. But the idea that there's a hidden camera in a birdhouse, I mean, he has his cameras pretty much out in the open. I mean, you can see them. You have again the quote unquote biscuit boy. He has them pointed out. He walks over. So there's a video, and again, I'm not recommending these people's stuff to watch. Let me make that clear. But he walks over and he's filming the cameras and stuff. And the whole narrative is that Lynette Preston and they're not that loud. You can hear in that video, you can hear them screaming so loud, you can follow the conversation. She's talking about a public post that she put up at one time. I believe she's talking about a specific post that ended up in some litigation. But it's fascinating because you can follow the conversation. And she's not talking to the guy filming. He's across the road. So it just tells you how insane that is. Liz also dropped 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Liz. That is awesome of you too. I appreciate you too. You've been around forever, and I do appreciate you. Leah T, thanks for the 41 freaking months too. That's crazy as well. Thank you. Also, hi everyone from Finland. Well, hey there, returned from Tennessee. Appreciate you there. Ray, aka the Ball Python King, dropped the 5 months. Hey, Tug and Travis. Hey, appreciate you too, my friend. Thank you, brother. I have my favorites. Classic narcissists accuse people of their own behaviors. Indeed. Indeed. The gaslighting tactics are pretty wild. You know, we've seen them involved in this case quite a bit. Yeah, and what really annoys me about that is they happen in moments where you're like, I know I saw that. I saw this stuff happen. I know what happened there. It's live. There's video. No. You didn't see that. You didn't see the post. Even if you did, that's not what's there. Liz also. Hey, thank you for your 5 Liz birthday. Hey, y'all. Glad to catch you live. Finally caught up with Willis. That's great. Yes, I know. I've been, like I said, I've been trying to set up something. His newest video, everybody should go watch it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel too. It'd be nice for somebody that, again, you know, he's not buried in drama. He's not going out there and trying to kick off drama. These people are bringing it to his doorstep. And he ignored it for the longest time. He still ignores a lot of it. But he showed you what he's dealing with right now. And I think people should go check that out. Anybody, even if, you know, especially those people that want to question whether that stuff happened or not, they want to deny it. His last video too, the mayor is live at Tubetown, baby. The one that I was talking about. This is also the link. I'm going to put this one in there. This is the one where there's the yelling with the child. Now, with that one, I've talked about some of the timestamps in it, you know, and you can go in around the hour and 22-minute mark. You can really hear the yelling. Like I said, the whole ecosystem came out and was saying, oh, the kid was just excited because Super Dave sent some stickers. And it's like, no, you can hear Preston yelling something and their kid yelling it afterwards. It's clear as day. It picks up. You just have to focus in a little bit. And then behind that, you can hear John Cook accusing him of terrible things in kids, trying to lure in children, because that's all they do. These people are false accusers, That's what they do repeatedly. Gross stuff, man. But yes, I'm glad I caught up there. Bonnie, we answered the question there. Yes, that is one of the things, though, I think they've tried to do is they've tried to cause copyright problems in the background. It has not worked so far. Usually on live streams, it's harder to do that right now. I mean, so far anyway, it is, but it's so crazy. Like they'll weaponize anything, I feel like. Fallen Hero, hey man, how you doing, brother? Thank you for the gifted membership. Appreciate you, brother. Rob, thanks for the 3. The link, by the way, the link is again video. Just go over there and subscribe. Make sure, again, all of you hit those subscribe buttons over there too. Show that love. Patty, thanks for the 20. It all started with her dogs came over to Tube Town. Yeah, you know what I would really like. Again, there are timelines for the Jeremy involvement, how things have gone on. There should be timelines for people who have kept up with everything with Travis, some of the odds and ends. It'd be interesting when there's talks about whether or not somebody has enough for a lawsuit, for example. I very much think, he definitely could sue if he wanted to. Now, a lot of people, like for me, I don't have to deal with people like this in my real life. So that's a big difference there. If I did, I might have a different opinion on it. But typically, for me, it's YouTube. And I mean, I've had people say some terrible shit, but it hasn't been worth dealing with them. But I've never had them move across the street and try to ruin my life. That's such a horrendous thing to think about. Could you imagine being in that situation? Oh. Well, wow. Thank you for the 2 there. Does Travis know how Lloyd is doing? So we brought that up. Thank you. I appreciate you asking that too. That was a good question there. Arthur Kipper, thank you for the $5 super sticker on that too. Appreciate that very much. Saw it roll in while we were talking. That was awesome there. I like this too for Buck Naked. The orange cat going, come on, orange cat. Yeah, I like that one. I thought that was funny. Misbehaving too. Hi, what's up, Misbehaving? Thank you for 11 there. Just wanted to let you know my super chat yesterday. I sent while asleep. That's funny. I guess I woke up enough to show love. Discovered it a replay. That's funny. That is really funny. Loving you conscious, subconscious, unconscious. Well, it's much appreciated. Like I said, that is pretty freaking funny too. The kids, by the way, today, they're out. So they're out with their grandma. Oh my gosh. So check this out. This, by the way, I thought was crazy. So we found out today that the candy shop, my daughter's favorite place, they're going to be moving at the end of the month. Now, luckily, they're not going out of business, but still they're moving. So she's like, I gotta go and get some candy before. Oh no! But she was telling the person up there like how much she loved their business and stuff. She was very not happy. She thought they were going out of business. I was like, oh no. But she's out with her grandma today. They're buying clothes and just doing a couple of, the stuff grandparents do with you. I think they've been having a lot of fun too. They actually hit me up. They were like, oh man, we got some candy. And I didn't know they're bragging about it. I was like, but they're funny. Anyway, Jack's mom noted, it breaks my heart to know how they're teaching her how to hate instead of how to love. I also wonder if you have a to rescue without turtles. That's a good question, actually. Can you have one? And that brings up the question of what's happening with the turtles. People have asked that before. Like, what is going on with that? And I don't know how you take care of animals. If you can't take care of yourself, how do you take care of animals? I do wonder that too. Well, how exactly does that supposed to work out? But I guess you're not supposed to ask those questions. Like, is it inappropriate for somebody to run a 501c3 when they have to depend on other people for assistance. Rick's Cowboy, thanks for the 2 there. Timu Tugru. That's funny. The Timu Tugru. That's so good. I love it. Thank you, Rick's Cowboy. Sassy asked about the jealousy thing. I hit that. Thank you again, Sassy. Jada, thanks for the 5 months. Thanks for giving Travis time today, of course. You know, Travis, I agree. He's a positive guy. Doesn't deserve the harassment. It's so strange. Like, Travis, he asks not to be part of drama a lot. And, you know, the last time I got really, I guess, irritated with hearing about the BS because first of all, I've gone back enough to find out some of the backdrop, some of these people, you know, they hate people like Travis because of their own personal issues. You know, they've decided they were going to have, but they liked everybody at first. I've run into that myself with people too. You know, people that they love you till they don't. It's fascinating, but you have people, you know, that target him over what is obviously some kind of personal vendetta, some kind of issue they decided they wanted to have. And they target him over every single thing that comes up. Anything, no matter how slight. And part of that is definitely drama. And part of it is being able to monetize it. But part of it, I think, is just this singular focus on hating certain people. It's crazy. DeFloofy, what's up? Thanks for the 5. There's speculation that tortoises die in the winter from the cold. I really hope that's not true, by the way. I very much hope that. But if they're not cared for, you know, you're talking about any kind of animal, like they end up getting hurt by winterizing. And you've seen some of the conditions. If you don't have that stuff set up correctly, I mean, you're going to end up with dead animals. So I really hope that is not the case. I don't know about that, so I'm not speculating on it, just to know, but that's terrible if it's true. Now, also, Sassy, I wanted to thank you for this one too, you know, and again, you had a good question, I thought. That was good. I didn't phrase it as well the first time, so I appreciate you going back in and rephrasing for me. Green Veggies, thanks for the 5. Levy County should fundraise for body cams. Yes, but you know, the problem with not wearing, a lot of law enforcement does not like to wear body cams. And that is because body cams are accountability. They might actually be accountable. Police officers should be wearing body cams all the time. All the time. There should never be a moment when they're not wearing a body cam. They should always be answerable. I don't think that I think that if you have, you know, again, with law enforcement, if they have on a body cam and it turns off, they should be fired. They should be considered, whatever they're blamed for, they should be considered guilty of, unless there's a struggle or something. You know, if there is a struggle, then that would be different. But outside of that, there should never be a moment where body cams are off. Every police force should have to wear them. There are a lot of places, though, that don't. There are a lot of places that actually do not have body cams that are required, and they never turn them on. It's some of the wildest stuff I've ever freaking seen. But I don't think we'll ever get to a uniformity in it. Carrie, thanks for the 2. Travis should play children's music there for the kid. Yeah, unfortunately, that would be that would just cause him more problems. They'd be like, trying to lure in children with it. You know how they would be. It would be even worse than normal. No, again, these people put you in a situation where they want to harass. And again, they want to be the victims in this story. They want it bad. They put up, this is fascinating. So apparently on the 2L channel, John Cook recorded them a video to put up. He recorded it. So of course they're not a PR team, right? But he records them a video to actually put up. I thought that was kind of crazy to see. Let's see here. Travis, sorry you have to endure this craziness when you're just trying to do your own thing at Tubetown. Again, Becky, you're 100%. And it is sad that he has to deal with that. 1 second, I got a call. Vanessa, thanks for 5. Tug, this hour slot today is perfect. Yeah, it works out for the UK. I do like it. When I can, I use it. A lot of times where Megan and I stream together, early is not as easy. You know, when you get to earlier in the day would be a time, but it's hard to line up. And when it gets later in the day, you know, with families, people coming in and out, that's why we end up later. But yeah, I mean, I like that time too because it catches like 5 o'clock is when people start getting out of work. I think 5:30 is really that. They used to be when I streamed all the time, but lining up again to make it work with Megan, we go at a specific time there. You know, and that's on both of our sides for that. But yeah, if I can line it up for sure, I will. I appreciate you, Vanessa. Carrie, thanks for the 2. Sesame Street ABC is non-stingy business, please. That's funny. Thank you there. What's up, Sticky, by the way? Sticky, what's good? Thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for that. Andre, thanks for the 2. The misfits don't like happiness, so they destroy. There's a lot of people that never build anything, you know? They've never actually built anything on their own whatsoever. It's easier to burn than to build. I mean, there are just people like that. There are people that go their whole lives too, thrashing about like petulant children, you know? Anytime they get called on something, they throw fits, they threaten folks. I mean, we see a lot of that connected to this case, you know, the threats that roll forward. Man, I've been working for 2.5 weeks, by the way, on arranging all of the screenshots that I've picked up throughout this. You know, usually I don't have to arrange all of the screenshots through something, and you would not believe how many there are in this thing. It is insane, and that doesn't count getting all the Shara stuff yet. I appreciate, by the way, one person did help with a lot of the Shara stuff. Like I said, I do appreciate that, tagging those in. Man, there's so much of it. This case is nuts. Emma, thanks for the Emma. I don't know what I said. Emma, thanks for the 2 there. Body cams can be used for comps, own protection. That's true. It should go both ways. You know, there should be no question of what happens during contact. The problem is, though, like when you've seen the statements from Levy County, you realize that as it is, there will probably be nothing happen to those police officers for that because they have immunity. Police have immunity from almost anything. You have to get it in order to make them pay for something if they actually, you know, are accountable for wrongdoing. You have to go in and you have to strip them of the immunity first. And that is not easy. It is not easy at all. And holding them accountable in any way whatsoever. I don't think a lot of people understand that. But yeah, you're right though. Every interaction, it should be for their protection too. Terry, thanks for the 10. Dennis, run for the girls. Indeed. The little one is losing her baby teeth right now. It's funny. She's got their front. So she lost one of her baby teeth, her first one. It was, God, you can tell they're getting older from all this too. But she's lost her front bottom tooth, you know, right there in the front. And the one beside it is coming out as well. So it's kind of funny. But her favorite place in the world, like, you know, some kids are all toys, you know, they want this or that merchandise. She doesn't care about that. Her thing, anything in the world, she likes candy. You know, she's like, I love candy. I want it. That's her one thing in the world that she loves more than anything. She has this store. We have a little candy shop that's in town. It is her favorite place to go because she can just walk around. It's not about buying like a ton of candy. It's about her being able to pick out her specific candy, you know, and just be there. So we went over and there ended up their either shutting down. Well, they're not closing out, but they're moving and doing something. But she found that out today, like I said, and she was not happy about it. Yeah, like I said, it's her favorite place in the world, and she just found out that that it's not going to be where it's not going to have its own little place. So like, no. Brazilla, thanks for the 5 there. Before the Tooth Fairy has to file for payroll, no, man. I am terrified of the Tooth Fairy bills that are coming up. They're so bad. Ray, what's up, Ray, man? By the way, give Ray some love. Ray is dealing. He's on the daddy train. When you're on the daddy train, you got a lot of work there. Love to you, Ray. But Ray, thank you for the 8 there. Just swinging by between diapers and baby splash yoga to say hi. Glad you're on the men tuck. Love you guys. Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, and it's good to see you, man. Said Ray has been very busy with the being a father is a lot of work. It's quite a bit of work. All right. Well, I'm going to end early today. Tomorrow, like I said, I'm going to cover what happened today. It will be a very interesting conversation because we had documents come up today that weren't supposed to be filed. And the judge makes that clear in his move. He makes it very clear. He swats them down and he does it like that. But what's fascinating is they weren't supposed to happen on 2 levels. And I mean, the judge responded to that. I mean, within less than an hour, he struck it. So this judge is fed up with that kind of stuff. And it's going to be fascinating because we get to see what Bruce's little master plan was, what he was going to file to try to do damage because of the desperation. They're desperate to try to pull something. But the judge, you could tell he didn't even look at it. He just shot it down and kicked it over to the nothing. So I thought that was pretty funny. They thought they were going to pull a fast one. They thought they were going to use the pro se mess. I said, and it doesn't work for you. The pro se thing will only take you so far. And I think this judge is fed up with a lot of stuff that has happened. And he's probably not going to be the kindest as far as this case is concerned going forward. But I guess we'll see, right? We'll see. But anyway, I'm going to end here. I appreciate you folks. Go watch Shizzy tonight. Actually, I think they're on the Expert, but it's early today. So I'm not redirecting you. I'm just going to end. Appreciate you. See you.